Hello, good morning, and welcome to the AM show on the Joy News channel. I don't know where you are and what you're going through, but I feel someone needs to hear this. And I don't know what your belief is or who you believe in, but I believe in God. And I understand that God does not give us things at the point when we feel we need them. He gives us those things when He believes that we are right and at the right time for it. Because some of the blessings that you've been asking for, indeed, if you get them at the time you've been praying for, could kill you. So if you pray for something today and you don't get it, don't lose hope. Know that the God Almighty, who understands everything, knows why He has not given you that blessing that you've been praying for at the time you're asking for. So there's this young man who always wanted to buy a car. He prayed, but never got it. At the right time, when God said, this is your time, God gave him a bigger one, more than the ones that he's been looking for. So today you might have lost out on the prayer that you prayed, and you are broken, you are down. Don't continue being broken. Know that God understands you, and He will come through for you at the right time. Good morning to you once again, and welcome to the AM show. Let me run you through how the day will go. We'll bring you the AM news, as we do always. Denise Apoma, Ajay will be here without, and then we'll move into the AM sports, where we'll bring you a wrap of what's happening on the world of sports. Then we delve into what the papers are reporting today on our news review segment. It's a Wednesday, so of course, Dr. Kwame Asante, political scientist at the University of Ghana, will be here. We'll also be joined by Suleiman Abrahima. He is the Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa. And Thomas Ojo, Associate Professor, Transport Planning, University of Cape Coast, will be our guest. And then after that, we'll delve into the big stories. Now, 14 building contractors escaped death yesterday at Roman Ridge in a building collapse incident that appears not to be new in the country. And it's not new. It's not new at all. We know of the Melcom one, right? We know of several buildings that collapsed. In Kaswa, recently a building collapsed. So these ones are raising questions about structural integrity deficits and how this can be prevented going forward in the building and construction sector. Is it one of lack of proper supervision and regulation, or quality personnel? We'll unpack the issues with our guest today on the show. I'm sure this is of interest to you because you might want to pick one or two lessons from your own construction, and so that we can all safeguard the built environment. So join the conversation with your thoughts and views on phone and all our social media handles, and we'll share the rest of your thoughts with the rest of our viewers. Of course, as well, we'll have some drive-bys as well, and we'll talk about the EcoBank Joy Business SME Fair that will be happening at the Good Park this weekend. We'll give you that chance for you to join us with your thoughts as well. So this is how our show will be. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace, and it's my honor to bring you the show. I do this always with Emefa Akosia Adeti, the power lady. We'll start the show with the AM news to stay on.
Hello, good morning, and welcome aboard to AM News. My name is Denise Apoma. In our very first story, as the world marks World Polio Day, Ghana's National Polio Plus Committee says the country remains committed to completely eradicating the disease by 2027. Chairperson of the committee, Gertrude Adjo Akpalu, says despite major progress, the fight is not yet over, urging continued vaccination and public cooperation. There's more in the following report.
As part of efforts to intensify public education and awareness of Rotary International, in collaboration with the Ghana Health Service and other partners, has unveiled a series of end polio billboards in Accra. The move forms part of activities marking this year's World Polio Day, aimed at sensitizing Ghanaians on the deadly nature of the disease and the need for vaccination. Chairperson of the Ghana National Polio Plus Committee, Gertrude Ajo Akpalu says although Ghana has made significant progress over the years, the country cannot afford to be complacent.
Currently, we have only 2 countries in the world which have polio virus, which we call the endemic countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan. As we stand here today, we have a total of 39 cases, and we hope that by next year, or by 2027, we will have eradicated polio.
Also speaking at the event, Dr. Raymond Dankoli, Global Polio Eradication Initiative Coordinator for Ghana, urged communities to support ongoing vaccination and surveillance efforts to protect children across the country.
No child is or parent is, and no money is collected from any person for this investigation. These are some of the effort that we're putting in. So currently, what we are trying to support is having a sensitive surveillance so that if there is any importation in the country, it will be detected early.
Head of the polio laboratory at the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, Professor John Kofi Odum, explained that Ghana continues to strengthen its laboratory surveillance systems to detect any traces of the polio virus in communities before it leads to new outbreaks.
The work we do in the polio lab is not only for the country. We also test samples for Togo, Benin, Mali, Niger, Cameroon, and Zimbabwe. So we are doing a great job to support this polio eradication initiative. The lab is a key partner, and we continue to do this.
Stakeholders are hopeful that with continued vaccination, community support, and effective surveillance, Ghana can achieve its goal of eradicating polio by 2027.
And still on health, the Chief Executive Officer of the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, Dr. Eric Kofi Njedu, has reaffirmed the hospital's commitment to expanding and strengthening its laparoscopic surgical services as part of efforts to enhance access to advanced healthcare in Ghana. Speaking at the end of Project Review meeting in Cape Coast, Dr. Njedu revealed that the hospital is intensifying capacity-building initiatives for its medical staff and also investing in modern equipment to position the hospital as a national leader in minimally invasive surgical care.
January of 2024, the Korea Foundation for International Healthcare, KOFI, partnered with the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital to establish a laparoscopy project in a bid to promote sustainable laparoscopic care in the region. Today, the hospital is the only health facility in the central region providing laparoscopic surgical services. At an end of project's performance review held in Cape Coast, the country director of KOFI, Bo-Min Yang, highlighted the significance of the partnership.
This project is very important to support the patient to be more safe based on the minimal invasive surgery. It can be very efficient to the patient for the recovery. So after this laparoscopy surgery, patient can have faster recovery and safe recovery. So it will be very helpful for the people of the Ghana.
The hospital CEO, Dr. Eric Kofi Njedu, noted the hospital's role in the establishment of the project while emphasizing the hospital's commitment to expanding laparoscopic services.
The Cape Coast Teaching Hospital constituted a dedicated project team, procured and inspected surgical instruments, and provided technical and logistical support for all project activities. Our collaboration with KOFI has been exemplary, marked by transparency and shared purpose. The receipt and the commission of laparoscopic tower donated by KOFI stands as a tangible symbol of this partnership and of our shared drive to expand Ghana's surgical capacity. Our zeal to sustain this service has already opened avenues for new partnerships and collaborations as we strive to make CCTH a center of excellence for laparoscopic surgery and training in Ghana.
The project coordinator for the hospital, Kafui Akpedonu, outlined some key achievements of the project.
So we are expected to do 10 surgeries for O2 this year, of which we are expecting to do 5 from tomorrow till Friday, then the other 5 in 2 weeks' time, so that we can close this chapter. By way of sustainability, we want to say that this center has come to stay and it will serve the 3 catchment regions. And also we hope to expand our base for other regions and other partners who may want to learn from us.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Lissel and Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Now, a 5-year project aimed at promoting girls' participation in science and mathematics has wrapped up in Accra with new pledges of support from the Korean government. The Korea International Cooperation Agency, KOICA-backed initiative, has helped thousands of learners and teachers to gain confidence in STEM education.
Launched in 2021, the promotion of girls' competency in math and science with gender-responsive pedagogy project has reached about 45,000 learners and 800 teachers in selected districts across Ghana's central and eastern regions. At the closing ceremony, Korea's ambassador to Ghana praised the project's impact and pledged this government's resolve to launch a second phase, with funding increasing from $8.5 million to $28 million.
This project, this STEM project, worked with hundreds of junior high schools across the eastern and the central region, reaching tens of thousands of students and teachers. And I checked the result and found out that actually what is the name of the graduation, the test. So actually the score was getting higher. So I was amazed and very satisfied. I think it's all because of your effort, every one of you, every teacher here. So I really appreciate that one. And because we have such a good result, my government decided to initiate second phase again.
The Education Minister, Haruna Idrisu, while expressing gratitude to the Korean government, reaffirmed the government's commitment to expanding access to STEM education. He said a bill will be laid before Parliament on Friday to formalize the establishment of the School of Engineering and Agricultural Science in Bonsu.
Particularly grateful for their continuous investment in Ghana's education and in supporting science and math education, which is the future. Our School of Engineering and Agric Science in Bonsu, I intend to lay the paper for the establishment of the university in Parliament. I'm sure by Friday, my plans is that I should get the bill laid so that formally it can take off.
The next phase of KOICA's STEM project is expected to begin in 2026 and run through 2035, focusing on Ghana's STEM education program with digital innovation and expanding its reach to more regions across the country. For Joy News, Michelle Latte's report read to you.
Moving on, as part of Ghana's commitment to its national climate targets, the Environmental Protection Authority, under the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, has partnered with the government of Switzerland to tackle climate-related challenges under Article 6.2 of the Paris Agreement. Mamavi Sefakote has the rest of the story.
Long-standing power challenges, popularly known as Dumso, may soon see some improvement as the Ministries of Energy in Ghana and Switzerland join forces to address the country's renewable energy needs. At the launch of the National Clean Energy Program in Accra, the Swiss ambassador to Ghana, Togo and Benin, Simon Giga, announced that the Swiss government is investing $200 million to install 4,000 PV solar panels across the country between 2025 and 2030.
It aims to mobilize about $200 million US dollars in also private sector funding for investments in solar panels on roofs of both commercial and private buildings. And we are talking about 4,000 of these installations. And this is, of course, a very worthwhile investment because we all know in Ghana the sun shines almost every day, right?
The Director of Climate Change and Ozone Directorate at the Environmental Protection Authority, Felix Adu, reaffirmed government's commitment to advancing the country's renewable energy agenda and called for broader support as the program takes off.
Currently, before this launch, effort has been made. We have started developing certain clean products such that the consumption of the fossil fuel may go down. For instance, we talk of the e-vehicle, electronic vehicle or buses that you see around, which we are hoping that it will be developed more, we'll get more. The Ministry of Energy and Green Transition has assured us that by 2030, we'll get more to address this issue.
Managing Director of Swiss-based PV company, the KEL Foundation, Michael Abrokwa, outlined the organization's role in driving Ghana's green transition.
We've defined the amount of power. We are using $60 million to leverage 200 million. So 140 million would be coming from the private sector, whilst Click will be pumping in $60 million. This week, for instance, we'll be going around to look at some of the installations that are happening.
Ghana's energy landscape is gradually transforming, with the solar PV installation expected to provide a sustainable solution to the country's energy challenges. Mamavi Sefa-Cortez report, read to you.
Okay, now let's not move away from the Clean Energy Pact. The Savannah Research Institute, SARI, in collaboration with the Netherlands Development Organization, SNV, has developed 12 sorghum varieties for smallholder and commercial farmers. Funded by the Guinness-Ghana Castle Group, the project aims to boost crop yields, income, and also food security. SNV project manager Clement Wemura Yakubu reviewed plans to produce and supply 22,000 metric tons of white sorghum for industrial use this year. Join News' Upper West Region correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from the demonstration farms in Tumu.
The Sustainable Sorghum Sourcing Project is a partnership between the Netherlands Development Organization, SNV, and the Savannah Research Institute, SARI, with funding from Guinness-Ghana Castle Group. The aim of the project is to drive the production and sustainable sourcing of white sorghum for industrial brewing. The Savannah Research Institute, based in the Northern Ecological Zone, is mandated to provide technologies to farmers to ensure improved yields, income, and food security. They are, however, unable to fully execute that mandate owing to some operational challenges. The partnership with SNV is therefore welcome news for them, according to Chief Technologies and On-Farm Adaptive Research for the Upper West Region Farmer Systems Research Group, Harun Ali. He threw further light on the varieties.
The demonstration or the trial you see here is made up of 12 different varieties for the medium maturing and the early maturing varieties. Each of the two categories of maturing groups have 12 varieties, but those varieties have not been named yet. We still refer to them as genotypes. But among the 12 varieties, we have two checks, which is the Kapala and then the Dorado. And it will interest you to know that Kapala was released by SARI in 1996, followed by Dorado in 1999. So all these years, sorghum has a deficit of varietal release. But fortunately, with the partnership and with the concern and interest of SNV, we have picked it upon ourselves to ensure that we step up and double our efforts to ensure that we introduce improved sorghum varieties that are both hybrid and OPVs.
Adducing further reasons of the importance of sorghum beyond being a commercial or food crop, he spoke about its resistance to drought.
Sorghum too is another crop that can perform very well in terms of drought conditions. And it will also interest you to know that the varieties that we have here are climate-smart varieties. Climate-smart in the sense that they are improved to ensure that they can tolerate drought spells or drought in times of difficulties. You know, for now, the rain pattern is erratic. There are times that you expect the rains and you will not get the rains.
Project manager of SNV, Wemera Yakubu, noted that one of the key inputs that drive the production of sorghum is seed, and hence the partnership with SARI to ensure the breeding and multiplication of improved and resilient white sorghum variety for the project.
Last year, worked with SARI to ensure that sorghum seed, that would have been a challenge for the season, was made available. Partnership for the main season production and also the off-season. They supported the production of this in collaboration with other commercial seed growers, and were able to supply about 25,000 kilograms of white sorghum seed to farmers. Now, this alone brought a great intervention in the production season. Otherwise, it meant that we would have had to go out and look for sorghum seed, or farmers would have had to recycle their own seed.
Wumere Yakubu spoke about their target for this year.
This year, the target consolidated across the 29 aggregators that we are having. We're estimating to aggregate and supply over 22,000 metric tons of white sorghum. That's a great market for smallholders and actors along the value chain.
There was a field visit to some demonstration farms to enable the farmers select from the varieties of sorghum they think is fit for their purpose. Some of them share their thoughts with Joy News.
I'm seeing an improved version over here, and the education we have gotten over here. I know that is what most farmers have done on their fields. And if that is so, like I mentioned, it's going to be a cost saving for us.
But what made me surprised is that we're given the hybrid seeds. But when I came here and I was told these are opium pollinator variety, I couldn't believe, because there's no difference between the opium pollinator one and what has been brought outside the country. So that's what I said, I'm shocked. I claimed that my farmer that I didn't know this one, if not today. So Sarah is actually doing very well.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Tumu.
It's now time for us to break for some business news. Ahanta Pele Kujibrace will bring you that after this break.
Well, let's start the business update with trends on the currency market. Finance Minister Dr. Cedi to uphold the Cedi as the only legal tender for transactions. Speaking at the Cedi here in Accra, Dr. Forson said supporting the use of the local currency is essential to maintaining stability and strengthening national confidence
in the economy. To have faith in our dear currency, the Ghana Cedi. As managers of the economy, we have remained steadfast in our duty to ensure a strong Cedi and a very stable currency. Our commitment to fiscal discipline has contributed to the strengthening of the Ghana Cedi. We want to use this opportunity to commit that the government of Ghana remain committed, and we shall stay the course to ensure that the Ghana Cedi remains stable and gains, as we have seen, are being maintained. As citizens, we have a role to play. And let me repeat this. As citizens, we also have a role to play. We must maintain the sanctity of the Cedi as a legal tender by preserving it with dignity and protecting it jealously. We must all be vanguard, and we have to ensure that we are all vanguard by ensuring that the Cedi's value is maintained. We must be eschewing the act that seeks to undermine the value of the currency, particularly the pricing of goods and services in foreign currency, the US dollar. Let me use this opportunity to once again stress that as Ghanaians, the Ghana Cedi remains the only legal tender. The US dollar is not our currency. The Cedi is our only currency.
Well, lead for gender at Agra Africa, Winnie Osula, calling for greater support for women in agriculture to close persistent gender gaps in the food system sector. Speaking at a policy and state capability work stream in Accra, Madame Osula said empowering women farmers is key to achieving inclusive agricultural transformation across Africa.
Actually, when you talk about gender in the agriculture sector, as a continent, we still have a lot more to do, even before I zeroed in into Ghana. But the research that we did was focusing on the environment, enabling environment for gender responsiveness in the agriculture sector, looking at 3 specific areas. That is the environment itself. We're also looking at the commitment of the government and the stakeholders in advancing gender equality within the agriculture sector, and also looking at the capacity of the state agencies and the staff that work there. The government is doing a lot because they already have a department that deals with gender and women issues in cross sectors, not just in agriculture. And at the same time, the gender in agriculture development strategy, that's one document that ensures that they've already put in place, spelled out the kind of activities that need to be done. And that is why they're scoring the 72%. But if you look at the implementation, that is now where, we have a bit of a gap, because there is less commitment and then there is also, limited capacity. So I think investments in those areas, going beyond the enabling environment that has been created, investing now in, evaluating what the policies that are existing have done or the strategies that have done would go a long way. Also looking at the staff capacities, the people you entrust to roll out these strategies. How capable are they as far as gender responsiveness is concerned?
Let's wrap up the business update with what's happening on the commodities market. Business update back to you, Poma.
Thank you, Samuel Kujibrace. And that's it for AM News. Please don't forget that if you want more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Denisia Pomaide. Enjoy the rest of the show. But after this break, we'll bring you sports.
We bring you sports now on the AM show with me, Muftar Nabila Abdullahi. Good morning. Ghana's Black Queens, they are into the WAFCON 2026 tournament after putting 7 past Egypt over 2 legs. The senior female national team secured a first leg 3-0 victory before winning the second leg 4-0 at the Accra Sports Stadium on Tuesday with a hat-trick from striker Doris Bodua.
Opportunity to reorganize into the 18-yard box. That's a long pass there. Preparation from the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper left it, and that goal will count. It will count.
Yeah, that was a blunder there from the Egyptian goalkeeper. Habiba comes out, gives it to Kuju. Kuju sees Asantua. Asantua spots the run from Mafo. Gets the ball into the 18-yard box, he sends the pass, and that's a second goal for Doris Wedua. What a lovely teamwork goal there from the Black Queens. 2 goals for Doris Wedua.
Well, we did say that the floodgates of goals have opened. Football control, lovely turn. Lifted by Bedun into the 18-yard box. An opportunity again for another goal. She delays, but she turns. Can we get across? Oh!
Keeper. Comfort Yabua. What a strike that is. Lovely goal from the goalkeeper for the Egyptians who had it covered. Ball.
And that's a break for Ghana.
She's always going to score. Look at that pressure there from Stella Nyameche. Got the ball from the Egyptian. Good thinking there from Stella. Got the ball, and one thing she had in mind is to just...
Head coach of the team, Kim Lars, he says that the girls have got a potential to win in the tournament after securing qualification to the next edition of the competition.
We had a great summer when we took the bronze medal, so of course we want to play the tournament again. We also know that the potential can give us a chance in what's going to be the biggest tournament in the women's football history, the World Cup in Brazil. If we make the top 4 in WAFCON, so these have been 2 extremely important games for the team and for Ghana. So extremely proud of the girls, how we are winning both of the games. Today we are maybe a little bit slow in the first half, but the second half on the other side it's extremely good. So happy and proud. Yeah, of course, I think we can be better in all different ways. Okay, we're not finished yet, we'll keep building. We know that we also have some young girls that is pushing from the Princess, and there are other players in the league and also abroad that the potential can help us, but this group we need to respect and have in our mind that doing very good things. But of course, like when we have trainings together and meetings together, for every meeting and every training, we grow as a group and we learn each other, and we're getting better and better, and you saw it in the WAFCON, and you have seen it over 2 games against Egypt now, and I think the future is bright for this team.
Head coach of Black Queens, Kim Lars, speaking to the press after Ghana's 4-0 win over Egypt on Tuesday. Now, let's hear from Government Minister in charge of East Communications, Felix Kwachi Ofosu. He's also been speaking about the Queens' bonus issues that they had with government. The team decided to strike for 2 consecutive days, refusing to train. And the reason they decided to do that was the fact that government owes them $9,500 bonuses that were accrued during the country's participation in this year's African Women's Cup of Nations in Morocco. And during a meeting with the president of the Ghana Football Association, the girls rescinded the decision to boycott that AFCON qualifier against Egypt, which they won yesterday. Felix Kwachi Ofosu describes the delay of paying the girls as unfortunate, but he says that the Minister of Sports and Recreation, Kofi Adams, is working around the clock to ensure that the girls are paid.
Unfortunate, but thankfully it appears that there's some resolution in sight. At least yesterday, I thought I saw them show up for training, which is a good sign. It means that they have some confidence in the arrangements put in place to ensure that they are paid. The delay is not acceptable, but I think that the sports minister is working hard with the relevant stakeholders to ensure that it is resolved. And going forward, we should avoid that in future. Yeah.
And this seems to happen very often with the Queens. Last year there was a similar incident ahead of the Olympic qualifier against Zambia. 2016, I'm sure you were empowered then as well. They had held demonstrations and what have you. What do you think is the reason this seems to happen a lot with the women? There's so many people that think that, you know, it's happening because it's women.
Well, that would be quite unfortunate. I think that we need to treat all our athletes equally, irrespective of gender. I mean, I even hold a view. It may be controversial, but I think that we should be paying equal wages to both men and women athletes. I don't see why men should be paid higher than women. That in itself is a difficulty. Delays are not desirable, of course, and I think that we should take steps going forward to ensure that it does not recur. Sometimes these issues occur, but I am grateful. I am gratified that efforts are underway to resolve it quickly so that they can return to the field to play and bring us honor.
That is Felix Kwachi there speaking to my colleague, Fentio Tahiru. He also spoke extensively on the Black Stars as well, and we'll bring that to you in our subsequent bulletins. But now let's go to England. Carabao Cup is happening later tonight. There were some matches that were played yesterday, but tonight Arsenal will be in action, Chelsea will be in action, Manchester City will be in action, Liverpool will also be in action. Arsenal is coming up against Brighton and Hove Albion, and their head coach Mikel Arteta says that tie is going to be a very difficult one.
We were teammates. I know the whole history of him and the goods and the difficult moments that he has in his career. So I think it's remarkable what he's doing. The same with the team and Fabian and the coaches. The continuous work that they've done at that club is incredible. I think Fabian has added something slightly different as well, and very well prepared team. Very difficult to beat them. You've seen the results against the big teams as well. So we expect a really tough match, obviously.
Given the number of fixtures you've got just now, it is a test of your what is a very, very strong squad. Should we expect a lot of changes? I know you're not going to give us the team, but should we expect a lot of changes tomorrow? And are you more relaxed about the options that you have compared to previous seasons?
That word, relax in football, is impossible. We're going to try to manage the minutes and the loads as good as possible, because, as you said, we have a lot of games coming up with very short recovery time, which is a bit unusual, but we're going to remain very competitive.
The bookies have you outright favourites, Mikel, to win the Premier League title. Gary Neville says it's yours to win. I'll make that differential. It's not yours to lose, it's yours to win, is what he said.
Okay.
Are you aware of the noise? Do you embrace the noise? Do you ignore the noise?
But that's what we want. I think when our people are excited and when you see that the team is competing at the level consistently, there are the right reasons to believe, and that's the main thing. If you want to win big trophies, you certainly have to install that feeling amongst the team, the club, and around it. And we're in a really good position at the moment, but we know how early it is and how difficult every game is.
I know, Mikel, that a lot.
And this is how we wrap up AM Sports here with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullah. We appreciate your company.
The manufacturing of medicines in Africa is gaining momentum as countries across the continent strive to reduce dependence on imports and improve access to affordable quality health care. With a population of over 1.3 billion, the African pharmaceutical market presents a significant opportunity projected to exceed $70 billion by 2030. Local producers are increasingly positioning themselves to serve regional markets. However, they currently meet just about 40% of the continent's pharmaceutical demand. I caught up with Emmanuel Majuru, chairperson of the Federation of African Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association, to better understand the pharmaceutical manufacturing ecosystem on the continent.
Pharmaceutical production or production of healthcare products does not only affect the production of the product itself, but there are also an economy around that, in terms of the ecosystem that is required to set up a vibrant pharmaceutical manufacturing industry. The support that comes from other supporting industries, be it packaging, being supply, engineering, marketing, packaging, and so forth. And studies have shown that for a job that is created, one job that is created in pharmaceutical production, at least 7 other jobs are created that support that. So basically, it is something that is very central, that not only drives the manufacturing itself, but other industries as well.
Why is it that pharmaceutical manufacturing companies in Africa are able to produce just about 30 to 40% of market demand? What can account for this?
There are various reasons. The way we look at it is that we have to look at market access of manufacturers per se. And what we have seen is the fact that where access to markets has been very supportive, some of those countries can now produce 70, even 90% of their requirements. And in most cases, demand is created through public procurement, that is from government and the public sector, which then results in demand going up. And once you've got demand, then the necessary investment will come through in the sense that they have got already captive market that is there. And the financiers also come into effect. And I think that's the part of the reason that we think is central to the development of local production in Africa. And also there is funding also that is required. Most African countries don't have the necessary sound financial systems that can give finance to pharmaceutical production. What you need is what you call patient capital, a long-term, low interest, and that gives time for the industry to grow and mature. And those are the key variables that we think are very central to the development of local production.
But from where you sit, have you seen enough commitment from various countries in order to ensure that we have a specific agenda to make sure that, let's say, we are going to produce what we consume when it comes to medicines?
Yeah, there has been commitment, and it varies from country to country. Other countries have put in place development funds in the form of development banks, venture capital funds, and so forth to support their industries. And where that has happened, we've seen tremendous progress. Other countries don't have the capital wherewithal to be able to do that, and then you have challenges to do it with that. And I think in other countries the interest rates is very high. You're talking 20-30% in US dollar terms, which makes it unviable because it's an industry that operates within margins of 10 to 20%. So if you've got high interest loans, it becomes difficult to be able to fund the industry.
So where does policy direction and regulation sit in all of these? We've been talking about the African continental free trade area, how we can take advantage of this. Where does policy sit in this conversation?
As it stands, there are about 54, 55 countries in Africa, and each country has got its own regulatory authority that regulates the registrations of drugs and also the licensing of pharmaceutical manufacturing premises. So as it stands, it becomes a big barrier to free trade of pharmaceuticals in the sense that you have to register your products in a particular country, and sometimes the registration can take as long as 2 years, which is a bit too long. But now what we have seen is that there is a movement now towards harmonization of the registration processes across countries, across regions, and at continental level, with the birth of AMA, the African Medicines Agency, and also the current system that is where regulatory systems are now upgrading and strengthening their systems. I think we've heard of maturity level 1, 2, and 3. And we've got 9 countries that have reached maturity level 3. And those countries are now making a commitment that they now recognize what you call reliance. They can recognize registrations or approvals from one country to the next. So that what it is doing now is opening up the market and ensuring that you don't have to go through all the hurdles where you have to register from one country to the next. And the whole drive around AMA, which is African Medicines Agency, is to open up a market, to have a central regulatory authority, which when you have registered your products, it can be accepted in every country in Africa. And then you are looking at a market of 1.4 billion people, as opposed to other countries where the market can be as small as 1 million people. And that is central because you can then have a bigger market, you have economies of scale, and with economies of scale there's lowering of cost of production, and there's competitiveness in terms of quality and price as well.
Quality and prices. I mean, I was engaging, some pharmaceutical manufacturers here in Ghana, and they complained about counterfeit product.
Yes.
Flooding the market. Is this the same with where you're from in Zimbabwe?
Yes, to a limited extent. I think that's why you need strong regulatory systems to stop the influx or the infiltration of counterfeit products. They're substandard products. These are products of below quality that are dangerous to health. Then you can have a counterfeit which you call falsified medicine. It can be okay, but it could be imitating another brand, but not necessarily manufactured by the brand owner of that product. So they'll be riding on certain key brands, and then they make a product which is an exact copy. That is also happening. But false substandard products are a major health risk, public health risk, because it's a product that is not effective and that does not treat or cure the disease.
How do we deal with this particular issue?
Okay, there is a system now, because regulation is not only about registration and approvals, it's also about pharmaceutical surveillance, post-market surveillance, what they call pharmacovigilance, where there's a system that monitors the drugs that are in the market, how they are being used, and also the reports from the doctors, the health users, their experience with a certain drug. And here you are incorporating your pharmacists, your doctors, and every practitioner in the chain of prescribing medicines. And it is through them that the alertness is created, and then the system, the regulatory system, and also the law enforcement agents can come in as well. For example, there are institutions like Africa CDC that are becoming to play a crucial role in supply of medicines in Africa. And also you've got other donor procurement agencies, your Global Fund and so forth. And what we've been advocating for as Africa is to say, as FAPMA, is to say that if you are supplying Africa, you should buy most of your medicines from African manufacturers. And when we're doing that, we're creating demand for African manufacturers. And we're seeing a commitment from some of them to say a certain percentage we're going to buy from African manufacturers. Then they'll tell us we are not doing that because of A, B, C, D. Then we look at those things that are preventing them from doing that. And then we push for them to do that. And one of the issues that they've been raising is on quality, to say we only want WHO PQ'd products. We're saying now that regulatory authorities in Africa are upgrading their regulatory systems to ML3, which is the highest now. We've got 9 countries that have done that. So you should recognize that, so that any country that has got ML3 and manufacturers in those countries, it doesn't have to be manufactured in that country. Any manufacturer that has been licensed by that authority, then you should go and buy from them. So that's how we're opening up the market, and that's the role that we play as FAPMA. We also engage institutional funders, your Africa Development Bank, African Bank, and IFC and so forth, for them to come up with tailor-made financial solutions for African manufacturers. Yeah, so we're looking at all sorts of things that affect the industry.
From where you sit, how do you see the African pharmaceutical manufacturing market now and in the next 5 to 10 years? How do you see the market? And also, what do you think we can do to ensure that we leapfrog? We don't have to go through all of some of these processes, but we are able to get where we have to, so that we probably can increase the margins from 40% to about 80%. What should we do? Yeah,
that's a very interesting question. It's exciting. I think there's been a lot of expression of support, commitment, and you can see there's movement on the ground. You can see that the regulatory space is being opened to facilitate registrations and easier access to various markets. And you got institutions like Africa CDC coming in, even having a desk that is there just to procure from African manufacturers, and sitting with them and finding a way that they can increase procurement. And we also getting ears from international agencies, procurement agencies that are showing interest. But that's as far as it is concerned. But I think the most important thing is to see tangible action taking place on the ground, and seeing real growth, and that's the only way we can use to assess whether we're going forward or not. And that's why the problem is. So in most cases, there's a lot of expression of support, but you don't see tangible progress on the ground. And we hope what we have had, and even what we have had at this AMTE conference, can then become actionable, and we see real tangible growth. And I cannot say much at the moment until maybe when we meet after 5 years or so.
Here in Ghana, the government says it is working to provide incentives for local manufacturers while it tightens border controls to combat the influx of unregistered and substandard drugs.
Welcome back to the AM show. Let's now get into what the papers are reporting this morning. And we'll be joined by Dr. Kwame Asante, political scientist with the University of Ghana. Also, Suleiman Abrahima is Executive Director, Media Foundation for West Africa. And Thomas Ojo is Associate Professor, Transport Planning at the University of Cape Coast. Gentlemen, good morning to you and thank you very much for joining us. Now, as we do always, we give you a maximum of 2 minutes to tell us your reflection even before we get into the paper. So I'll start with you, Dr. Kwame Asante, if you're there.
Yeah.
Great.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to my colleagues as well as Ghanaians who are watching us. This morning, I want to look at the issue of Elimina water crisis. We all know the cause of this, and it's creating a big problem for our people out there. People are now struggling to have access to potable water simply because of illegal mining activities. It is my hope and prayer that this government will put 8 foot down and make sure that this problem is fixed once and for all. I know what government has put into place and it's working, but we need more, because so far as we continue to have scarcity of water and all manner of problems relating to this menace, then it tells you that there is a problem that we need to fix and fix forever. Yes, so I will urge this government to continue to fight against Galamsey, and then we'll make sure that we make water available for our people out there. Water is life, and without water, nobody can survive. That's my message for this morning.
Okay, all right. I see Suleiman Abrahima there. So
but Kojo, before I move on, I'm getting some feedback in my machine, so please help us out.
Okay, I hear. Mr. Brahma, let me come to you, a maximum of 2, to give us your reflection before we get into the papers.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning. I think the problem that Asante is having with his echo is about with me. I think I will also touch the same issue that Dr. Asante touched on. Yesterday, actually, we are having a multi-national conversation about the Galamsey. So, as part of countering polarization and building national dialogue, we've convened a number of stakeholders, includes
Mr. Brahma, your light keeps, it comes up and then it goes down again. I don't know, maybe, I know what's happening, but let's take it again to see if it's okay now.
Well, I think that the same problem as Dr. Asante was speaking, there was an echo.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's the same.
Well, we'll try and rectify it and then we come back to you. Let me bring in Professor Ojo. Prof, let's try and see if yours is a bit better. give you a maximum of 2 minutes to tell us what you think you want to talk about before we even delve into what the papers are reporting. So it could be any issue of national concern or in your locality that you feel that the nation must hear about before we get into the papers. Professor Joe, if you can hear me, kindly unmute so we hear you.
Thank you very much, my brother. And good morning to you. Yeah.
I can hear
I think I'm also getting the same feedback as my colleagues.
Okay.
Yeah. So good morning once again. Yeah, I say good morning to your esteemed listeners and viewers wherever they are. The thing I want to talk about is the DVLA debacle. When the DVLA CEO visited the Public Account Committee, and a question was posed to him, and I think thereafter something happened, but I must commend the DVLA boss for the composure used in addressing the issue. Yeah, I want to situate his response in the Road Traffic Act and the Road Traffic Regulation, where Section 10, Subsection 1, 3, 4, and 5 summarize the mandate of DVLA. That's to say that there are two forms of vehicle registration numbers. The first one is the standardized format, which you and I know about. And the second one is a personalized identification mark. That is the customized plate number where you see the person's name being written there. See, these two forms are designed to uniquely identify each vehicle. The number plate may look like a name of a person, but it's never so. Then the second question, which Madam wanted to find out, is with respect to the embedded chip or technology, which DVLA seeks to launch in 2026, which is what we call radio frequency identification. Countries like Indonesia, Honduras, and Russia, Turkey have entered this. The main benefits of applying this RFID, which the developers wanted to explain. One is with respect to helping to automate our toll collection, and also to enhance security, improved enforcement, that whenever a vehicle owner is being accosted or is being found wanting, the person can be easily identified, unlike the former system. So I think this is actually a further explanation that can make about the debacle between the DVLA boss and Madam Ose. Thank you very much.
All right. I'm grateful to you, Prof. Ojo. Let me come back to you, Mrs. Brima. Let's try if your line is rectified now so you can have your reflection.
I mean, as I was listening to Professor Joe, I think it was in West, and I don't know if it's going to be the same. I don't know what's happening. So I was touching on the illegal mining issue, and making the point that we've actually convened a multi-stakeholder process in Koforidua. This brings together the National Peace Council, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Environment, Science and Technology, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Lands and Natural Resources, the Trades Union Congress, the Christian Environmental Protection.
Let's take a quick break to rectify the challenges we're encountering, and then we'll come back to you with the news review. Please don't go away.
All right.
Welcome back to the AM show and to the news review. I guess that we've rectified the lines. Let me try again with you, Mr. Suleiman Ibrahima. Let's see if the lines are okay. I hope everything is okay at your end.
Yes, it is. All is well.
Hello, Mr. Ibrahima.
Can you hear me?
Okay. We'll try. Mr. Ibrahima, do I have you?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you from my end, but if I'm sure my technical guys can hear you. So let have your reflections. You're talking about the illegal mining and its impact on people having water or not.
Yes, I hope Dr. Asante and Professor Ojo can hear me. If that's fine.
Sule,
yes.
You are clear. I can hear you clearly here.
Okay,
right.
All right,
it's
that's
better
fine. So yes, I was making the point that we have convened a multi-stakeholder national level dialogue in Koforidua, bringing together almost all the relevant actors that you can think about: the Environmental Protection Agency, the Forestry Commission, the Ministries of Environment, Ministries of Lands and Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the two parliamentary select committees, Environment, Science and Technology, and Lands and Natural Resources, the religious groups, the Christian Council, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Office of the National Chief Imam, TUC, UTAG, NCCE, they are all here, plus academics and non-governmental organizations that work within the environmental sector. And the purpose is to say, look, can we for once put aside the blame game in terms of the politics? And I'm happy that in yesterday's conversation, the MPs who are here from the two parliamentary select committees, from both MPP and NDC, do admit that it is time to put aside the blame game and really focus on a realistic solution to the problem. And the expert presentations that we had here clearly paints a very damning picture that if we are not careful, we are basically looking forward to an apocalypse, not just in terms of the environmental destruction and the water situation that we keep talking about, but also the human health. And we may get to a point that one day we may just be hearing about hundreds of people dead from renal diseases, kids who are born without limbs, and all the things that we keep talking about. So it's a very, very devastating situation. But I think in all this, two critical institutions have been highlighted as perhaps the ones that can lead us into a solution. And this is about the executive, headed by His Excellency the President, and our chiefs. And I, at this point, would even believe that our chiefs perhaps have much more to do than even maybe the politician. I honestly believe that some of our very, very influential chiefs, our revered chiefs, the chiefs that we really hold in high esteem, if they were to get up one day and say, hey, enough is enough, no more illegal mining, or even mining on my land, whether people have concessions, whether people are doing large scale, small scale, or medium scale, if some of these chiefs were to get up to say, look, for the next 1 month, I don't want mining on my land. Even if you are an Anglo Gold or a Newmont or a Pesos Mining or whatever it is, I believe that you have no choice but to pause. And so I think we should really engage with our chiefs more so that we can have them save us. Otherwise, the way things are going, and the same, people will point to the fact that, look, once the chiefs are involved or chiefs are abetting and chiefs are either conniving and chiefs are allowing it, the politician can do nothing, And so I think it's a very critical situation that we face, and we would still appeal to His Excellency the President to engage with our chiefs, because the shoot and kill and all of those things, we've moved from Operation Vanguard to Operation Halt to now NIMOS. Look, the more we have these operations, the more the Galamsey crisis get worse. It's as if more operations lead to more Galamsey, and it's not going to work. What is going to work is being honest with ourselves, being sincere with ourselves, and saying, look, enough is enough. and all actors coming on board to say, let us get off this thing at least once and for all.
Mr. Brahma, how hopeful are you that with honesty and bringing the chiefs on board, we can really win this fight? We're just talking about it. Because this has been quite a long time.
Yeah, you see, the good thing is that the people who must act will tell you that they know the problem. So the politicians, the MPs who are here, for example, are being candid and honest. And I can understand them. They say, look, you go to the constituency and the people with the money are the Galamseyers folk, the Galamseyers. So if the church is organizing, is it what do they do? Affordable in tree, as they say. They are organizing. Is it a fundraising? They want
fundraising.
Harvest sessions.
Yes, harvest session. The biggest donors are the people, the Galamseyers in the community, and the MPs would say, look, we sit there and we feel embarrassed because the Galamseyer will come and give out 100,000 cedis. You, the MP, all you can give is maybe your 10,000 or your 5,000. And MPs are even talking about a situation where if you dare fight it, they will sponsor your exit. I mean, they will sponsor for you to lose the next election. So this is the situation. And I'm saying the people who can deal with the issue are the chiefs. I don't want to mention specific names, but we all do know that there are chiefs in this country that when they pronounce that from tomorrow or from next week, if you think you own the land, go and do Galamsey. But if you know I am the owner of the land, I am saying that from tomorrow or from next week, no mining on my land. And it will happen. But otherwise, the rest of it is just talk. MPP would say it's NDC. NDC would say it's MPP. The truth of the matter is that once MPP exited, there was just a swap. NDC folks, were now the ones in the pits doing the Galamsey all over. We've pointed to evidence in places like Pristiahuni Valley, where NDC folks, supported even by their MP, and this is a public knowledge. Yeah. And the folks are still there mining. Electricity Company of Ghana disconnects power from the site. They go and fix the power themselves and threaten that anybody who comes there will be dealt with. So are we saying that the chiefs of Pristiahuni Valley are not aware? The mining in Mansour, Dubia and all those places, are we saying that the chiefs there are not aware and even the bigger chiefs are not aware? I think they are all aware. And so for me, as I said, it's about being honest with ourselves and speaking truth to power and saying that, look, enough is enough. President Mahama, if he wants to resolve the Galamsey crisis, yes, it is complex. It's going to be difficult and all of that. But why? He has DCEs on the ground. Are we saying that the DCEs in the mining areas don't know that Galamsey is happening? Must it take NIMOS in Accra, the military command in Accra, to now discover places where mining is happening? Are we saying that yes, every district there's a DCE, there is a NIB officer, the national security officers are spread across the country. Don't they know? So it's about the dishonesty and the greed and this whole thing about quest for money, at the expense of anything, even if the environment will be destroyed. And I think sometimes the very weird mindset that people have is that, oh, after all, if I make money and the environment is destroyed, I can even move my family abroad. I can decide to go to Europe. I can decide to go to Canada. I can decide to go to the US. And of course, I mean, if ordinary people are thinking this way, you cannot blame them because in the past, and I believe even as it is now, there are powerful people, ministers, CEOs, and others whose wives, and if they are women, they themselves would prefer to go and give birth abroad because they want their kids to be citizens of another country. I think that it's time we really deal with our mindset and know that we can build our country by ourselves. And that calls for honesty, that calls for integrity, that calls for sincerity. Otherwise, we'll be in this forever until we completely destroy ourselves.
There's something, Mr. Brima has brought up something that I think we can explore. The point about people thinking that they can, destroy the environment and take their kids outside of the country. Must we probably get the embassies to say, we'll now investigate your source of funding that you present to us? And I want to come to you, Dr. Asante, on this one. Must we get the embassies to come in and help to say that if you present your bank account or your bank statement to us, we'll check to know exactly where the monies that are sitting in your account are coming from? If they are related to mining, we'll not grant you the visa. Can that be a way?
No, you can't dictate to the embassies as to what they should do. They know their job and they know what policy they are pursuing here. And so that is a no. If we have to fix the problem ourselves here, I mean, you can't tell you are leaving your problem and anticipating that somebody will fix it for you. It doesn't work anywhere. You have to fix it yourself. The real issues about Galamsey is a lot has been said by my brother Sule. That, look, sincerity is key. Right? We know those who are engaged in this, except that we don't want to touch them. The tools that they use for illegal small-scale mining are not cutlasses and hoes, for that matter. They are very big equipment and all that, and they are visible, they are there. People saw them moving them into those sites. And Brima quickly said it. Like, look, you have the BNI, you have all the security apparatus in all the places that illegal mining is going on. What is happening? And I will, add that, look, it's not that the security are not working. That one, I will defend them every day. The political actors will not let them work. I tell you, go and look at NIB, their report. The CID, their report about this thing. They report, but somebody must take action. That person will not, and he becomes what? Complicit. I have always said that if we want to deal with this problem, it's a stakeholder engagement, and I'm happy what Media Foundation is doing, putting the stakeholders together. At the end of the day, they will be blunt. But then, where do we go from there? You need a political will that those who have been entrusted with political power get the courage and say that enough is enough and that we are going to fix the problem once and for all. If we don't get it, all the things we are talking will be just a thing of the past. It will not work any magic for us. So we need people. Look, issue of people leaving this country, people will continue to leave the country. It doesn't matter, even if the economy is improved, somebody can leave for very good reasons. And we can't stop that. People have the right to move. But the real issue is that, look, when you look at some of the things that is happening, look at even the youth who are in the pit. Sometimes, brazenly, they challenge the security apparatus. That we are doing this. We dare you to come over. Do you know the meaning of this? It is a protest against the state. That, look, you people who are political office holders, you are enjoying all manner of working conditions, perks and all that. We have nothing. And that is the only means of livelihood. I'm not saying this to glorify what they are doing. No. But as a student of politics, I am just explaining. So it's a protest against the state. So the long-term effect or the long-term solution for that matter is that we need to fix poverty in this country so that we discourage people in this regard. And we can do so when we even engage the youth in this area by giving them license, train them properly, and making sure that they do the right things. Once they do that, they get employed, we get resources and all that, and there must be monitoring of these processes, right? If we are able to do this, I think we'll be able to reduce the incidence of Galamsey in this country and also help our environment, because I'm worried. Now look at you, listen to the European Union country director. The statement is said about the effect of Galamsey on our export. For me, that is what is a big issue for us. If cocoa is not, we are not able to sell cocoa because it contains some heavy metals, we are dead. I mean, if farmlands, arable lands, lands are destroyed in the name of Galamsey, then where do we go from here? Now we move from Ghana to go and buy tomatoes from what? A desert area, Burkina Faso. I mean, how do you see that? And
Well,
then when you put this thing on the whole issue of the fact that, look, this is a country that we have all the resources. Look at gold. It's virtually almost everywhere in this country you have gold. And yet you have a cap in hand going around the world looking for what? Resources to come and build your country. That's a paradox.
All right.
You need to run away from this.
I'm grateful to you. Let's get into the papers and start with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. On page 4, it says, desist from media prosecution. Minority in Parliament urges AG. The story says the minority in Parliament has called on the Attorney General, Mr. Dominic Ayine, to desist from media prosecution of individuals alleged to have been involved in the embezzlement of state funds and allow the court to look into the issues. Speaking at a news conference at Parliament yesterday, the legal advisor to the Minority and Member of Parliament for Swami, Mr. John Darko, said the media prosecution by the Attorney General created a negative perception in the minds of citizenry about the individuals involved in the matter. Additionally, he said that the actions of the Attorney General violated the fair trial principle under Article 19 of the 1992 Constitution. And I want to start from you, Mr. Suleiman Abrahima, because you are involved when it comes to media freedom, and you are in there. Where do we draw the line between transparency and media prosecution, as has been alleged by the minority in Parliament? Mr. Brima.
Well, so when I heard media prosecution, I actually was thinking that their advice was that the AG should not be trying to prosecute journalists for their work, but of course, I mean, what is being talked about is the press conferences that the AG holds from time to time to update the nation on the status of investigations and actions that are being taken in connection with those, cases. And I think, some people are not happy about it because it creates the impression that people are guilty, people have looted, people have caused financial loss to the states, and those affected are not happy. I mean, their point is, why don't we deal with this in court? Why do you present our case to the public before we even go to the courts? But I can also understand the Attorney General because there is so much pressure on the AG from citizens in terms of, so what is happening with Operation Recover or Loot? What's happened with all the issues of corruption that we've heard about? We want to see prosecution and so on. I don't think that the AG can be bluntly quiet on that and say to himself and to his colleagues at the department that, well, when we are ready, we'll go to court. And so you could see that the last press conference, for example, the AG had to make the point that for those who are clamoring for prosecution and urging him to act, they need to do proper investigations before they present matters to the courts. And of course, in doing so, the AG thinks that, well, it's also important to let the public know the cases that they have filed, what discoveries that they've made. I think people can be unhappy, but we see some of those things also happen in the US and in Europe. But of course, at the end of the day, the real place to deal with the matters in the courtrooms.
Now, their point is that some of the pronouncement makes the accused come across as though they've been convicted to have committed those crimes. And they feel, well, if you have evidence, go to court and get them pronounced so that you don't create in the minds of citizens that these people are thieves when the court has not pronounced them as such.
Well, for cases that are yet to be filed, I can understand. But for the ones that are filed, I believe that whatever the AG says will be contained in the charge sheet, will be contained in the documents that they have filed in court. So, for example, if the AG says that Mr. A caused financial loss of 10 million Ghana cedis, that will be something that can be found in the papers that are filed in court. If it's about a charge of stealing, I'm sure it will be the same thing that is stated in the documents that will be filed in court.
If it's about discovery of assets, I believe it will be about the same thing. And at that point, cases that are filed in courts no longer remain a secret. The media can report on them. And if the media were to take them up, I mean, it will be about Mr. A is accused of stealing 10 million, causing financial loss of 20 million, having acquired properties in ABC without justification, assets have been frozen, and so on and so forth. So essentially, it's about what is contained in the charge sheets that I believe usually we are told. Just that, as I said, for cases that are yet to be filed, maybe it's important that those pieces of information are withheld until the charges are filed, so that it becomes a public information, and the documents will be available to the public.
Okay, all right. Grateful to you. Let me come to you, Professor Ojo from the University of Cape Coast. Prof, what's your own reading as well of this call by the minority that take their cases to court before you come to the media or the public to create the impression that the people have stolen when the court has not pronounced such?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I think this issue has generated what we call two schools of thoughts, which my brother Brahma was trying to talk about. And the first school of thought, which I think is coming from the minority leader, is actually against what the Attorney General is doing. And I quite agree with him. And I'm trying to see some of the reasons he raised. And the first argument I think he's trying to raise is that it seems it is undermining the presumption of innocence. And that's to say that those that have been paraded are supposed to be presumed innocent until proven by
a court of competent jurisdiction.
Law of jurisdiction. Then they're trying to see in line with him is about the AG compromising the fairness of the trial by influencing judges or what have you. And the other one is there any political tone in what the AG is actually doing? And these are, I think, fair arguments on the part of the minority leader. And when you look at those who may be in favor, they are actually seeing it from the transparency or public trust point of view, that the Attorney General is trying to be transparent, is trying to let the public know what they found in the course of conducting their investigation. And secondly, on the part of those who may favor what he's doing, the AG is actually mandated and has the right to inform the general public about whatever they found out in the course of their investigation. So I now ask myself, do we have precedent? Has some of these things happened in the past? And from my research, there have been possibly cases like that where the AG comes out, organizes media presentations, where he informs the general public of ongoing investigation. So to submit, I think the crux of the matter is for the AG to, first of all, look at what the minority leader is saying, which is in view of what those who are against his processes of trying to prosecute the accused persons, and also look at what those who are supposed to be given fair hearing. And as my brother Brahma said, when the cases are being tendered in court, that is when they can be proven whether innocent or guilty. Thank you.
Well, but when the public also is to be taken along in terms of being informed of what the AG is about, a lot of people are calling for action. The AG says, I'm updating you on what's happening. Is that wrong for the AG to be doing? To say that we are prosecuting Mr. A and B in court? What is wrong about that?
I think it's the slowness associated with the prosecution. Remember, some have been charged before and the process is taking forever. Ora was constituted somewhere in I think after the NDC government came into power.
No, they actually started in December before they even were sworn into power.
Before they were sworn into power. So the general public is interested in the prosecution. That if you have enough evidence that these people have perpetrated any act of corruption, why don't you take them to court? And I think what the AG is doing is actually preparing the minds of the general public about what they found out, which would actually lead to eventual prosecution at the right court.
Okay. Let me bring you in, Dr. Kwame Asante, and pick your thought on this. Now, the minority thinks that under the guise of the accountability series, the Attorney General has blatantly violated the privacy right of persons involved in his investigations. And they say that this media trial has created in the mind of an ordinary Ghanaian the guilt of persons under investigation. Is that how you see it when the Attorney General comes out to update the public on the sort of investigations they're doing and the cases they are in court with?
Yeah, I think I share in the opinion of the minority, even though I'm not a lawyer, but the lawyers continue to educate us that whenever an issue is before court or is about to go to court, you can't pronounce anybody guilty unless it is only the court of proper jurisdiction that can say that this person is guilty, this person is not. So if you look at what is happening now, yes, there are two issues. The AG wants the public to know what has happened or what has happened, and which is our right, because the public has the right to know. Our money finance the sustenance of the court, and we are the basis of the law. We determine what law should be in society to regulate our conduct. So for that matter, if there is an infringement of any of the laws in the country, we expect to know what has happened. But that said, all right, once the matter is not in courts, and you are talking about it, it must be a charge or an accused person. You are accusing them of a wrongdoing, and you are going to court for the court to confirm your thoughts or your accusation or deny that. That's a very simple matter. So on that basis, some people cannot be described in certain terms that suggest that they are guilty before going to court. Otherwise, then what is the essence of going to court? Because already the person is guilty, all right? But you and I know that charges are preferred against some people, but when they go to court, they are set free. How do you reverse that image which the public has in terms of its negativity on that individual? So, because let's flip the coin this way. That imagine the Attorney General is not in this position, and his clients, he has clients that the state Attorney General is using the language that the people are talking about against his client. The first thing he would do is to go to court and tell the court that my client's rights are being abused, so and so and so and so and so. I was trying to get a story to back, and your team can give us, because I remember when Dr. Ini was the counsel for Tagore, I think he issued a certain warning to the public relative to comments and all that. I want, if your team can go in there and give us, so that it can refresh our minds. So we want to, yes, much as the Attorney General is doing his work, we want him to stay away from prejudicial comments. All right, you present the case, because I know how intelligent the Attorney General is, how professional he is. He can do this without saying some of the things that people are raising questions about. That these things are charges, these are things we have found, but the proper forum is what? The courts, and the court with them. For now, it is only allegation and all that. And I'm sure if the language is couched in this way, their lawyers, those individuals concerned, will not be worried, because the proper forum is the court. And the Attorney General has superior knowledge of these things more than I do. And so if the language can be cast in a certain manner that will not, condemn the people before going to court, describing them in certain terms that it's not in line with what lawyers know, then that's it. But we also, as a public, there is nothing wrong for Attorney General to update us as to what is it that we need to know relative to how people manage, the affairs of the state, what are the infractions of the state and all that. We also are entitled to know. We have the right to know. So it's a delicate balance, but I know that Attorney General, professional as he is, experienced as he is, he will be able to navigate his way through this, difficult line and be able to present the matter to court, and then we take it from there. But I always want to look at it from it that if the Attorney General happened to be a lawyer for those people, and these things are said in the way he says them, what will be his response? Okay, I think I've seen that. It's a very long statement there. So yeah, if you can read the intro, if it gives us something for us to ponder over. Well, it says our attention has been drawn. I don't know if that's the same thing, but our attention has been drawn to a press release dated July 30, 2009, on the above-mentioned case issued by the Honorable Attorney General and Minister for Justice. The said press statement raises a number of disturbing issues regarding the acquittal and discharge of our client, Mr. Kwabena Amening, a.k.a. Tagore. Issues that touch the very basis of our criminal justice system. We wish to respond directly to some of these issues raised, but before we do so, we wish to take the opportunity to comment on more generally on the unanimous decision of the court. Okay, so that's before they came to the real issue by the Attorney General. Okay, but I mean, I think it was something about, I have forgotten, but I think I followed the news, and if I'm wrong, people should correct me. It's about comments that people were making, and then they issue something like, I wanted us to get that one so that it can refresh all of us, our minds. Yes. Okay. It's a comment that people were commenting, and then I remember on TV he was saying that he's being instructed by his client to say, I've forgotten the details. I'm sorry about that. All right. Yeah. That's fine. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the Cedi, because yesterday we celebrated the Cedi at 60, and the Vice President says, let's sustain the stability. I want to find out that beyond, we saw beautiful pageantry on display. Beyond the talk of the beautiful pageantry, are we doing what matters to keep the Cedi stable? Dr. Asante, maybe you start from us and I'll go to Mr. Brima. Yeah, please, can you repeat the question? I'm asking that beyond the talk, the Vice President said we should sustain the stability. Are we doing what is right to ensure that the Cedi is stable for us as a country? I am not an economist, but I am a human being, and all our activities are driven by economics, one way or the other. So I don't need to be Adam Smith or anybody close to what economics, but at least the basics is that when people talk about all the economic fundamentals, we continue to hear time and again, right? My only worry is that does it reflect in our lives? If the Cedi is stable, what is the impact on our life? That is a critical question we need to know. All right. If the Cedi, they talk about all the healthy conditions we find ourselves, and I go to market and things are difficult, and at the end of the day, I'm not able to transact business and get my returns. At the end of the day, interest rate is high, and for that matter, it undermines business and all that. Then what happens to economics? So from a political economy point of view, I believe that, look, economics must be driven by politics. Politics take the decision. Economics is technical. And then we should be able to handle it in such a way that we get a better life. Because the essence of governance is to make sure that life becomes easy to manage and that we have opportunity to make things better for ourselves and improve our lives. And for me, that is where I am coming from. Okay. So yes, they can talk about single-digit inflation and ask, what is the situation on the market? What is the situation on the field? How are people feeling this? So they can say all the good things, but at the end of the day, me as an ordinary person, my relationship with that, phenomenon should be able to what? It should lead to something that will improve my lot. Otherwise, all the theories, all the commentary becomes what? Meaningless.
Okay.
We have seen in this country efforts by political parties when they don't have power. They want to convince us that when given mandates, they will turn our economic fortunes around. And we have seen also effort by the same political parties when they come to power. A few years, you see them doing everything possible to make sure that the economy's health is fine, and then we get our basis right, our fundamentals are okay, and then life improves. The same political actors, when we are going for election, they are prepared to destroy the country with all manner of activities that undermine the very healthy economy that they built. So you realize that we are caught in what? A very cyclical problem where we build, destroy, we build, destroy. So you ask yourself, at what point will this, phenomenon get broken? And for me, that is a worrying situation. Today, you are seeing that the government is able to what? Maintain physical discipline. We are seeing some improvement and all that. And even though people from the other side of the political divide are saying that all these things, the government should show to them that there is a single policy that is driving this. I'm not an economist, but when I follow logic, those statements do not make sense to me at all. Because you see, you can give 1 million to somebody to manage. If the person is a bad manager, the person will end up depleting that resource and then going into negative, in other words, borrowing for you to come and pay. But if you have a good manager, all things being equal, he can manage it. Even if he's not going to make profit, he can stay at par and make sure that there is no loss, there's no profit. All right. It's like you having a good teacher compared to a bad teacher. A good teacher, it doesn't, even if a child is poor, you'll be able to bring that child to a scratch. But if you have a very bad teacher, even the excellent student, you end up destroying them. So I see those who are saying that government should show one policy. They should answer this question. One policy that has sustained this. The policy is that if you have a bad manager, it doesn't matter how much resource you give to that person, the person would deplete it without any reason. Okay. So all that I want to say is that, look, we are talking about economy is improving and all that. We want to see improvement in our lives. Okay. Then we can attest to the fact that, yes, economy is in top shape. Okay. But if we don't see that there is a disconnect, then I'm afraid all those things we are talking about we will not see. Because the cocoa seller, all your metrics, you talk about economics, all your standards you are using in economics, the cocoa seller is not alive to that. All that the cocoa seller is alive to that, he goes to the market and find raw materials for his work, for her work, and they are within reach. He's able to buy. And when he add one or two to it, he can also make a living for herself and the family. If that doesn't happen, economic theory becomes meaningless.
All right, I'm grateful to you. Let me bring in Mr. Suleiman Brahima. Mr. Brahima, I mean, in terms of we are all talking about how to sustain the gains that the city is making. But one thing we're not looking at is how people earn in Ghana, but are pricing they do business in Ghana, but are pricing their services and goods in dollars. Is there a way we can control that? Because when you go to South Africa, for example, I don't know much about the country, but you are made to convert your dollar into rand so you can buy. Can't we do same in this country so that we can really sustain the gains the city is making?
Well, in terms of the specific issue that you raise, I think for the last couple of months, various organizations and entities that would typically be pricing in dollars have all reverted in cedis. I mean, there were hotels in Ghana that were pricing in dollars because of the instability and all of that. There were schools that were pricing in dollars and other service providers that were pricing in dollars. And even at the ports, which is a state entity, I think when cars are to be cleared, they would always peg the the charges against the dollar. So depending on how the dollar is doing, your price goes up or down. So I think we are seeing quite some reduction in that kind of practice, and I believe that if the Cedi remains stable, we would get to a particular point in time where people may not be engaged in that practice anymore.
Okay.
But for me, what is of significance to me is Cedi is 60, and so what? Or Cedi is 40 or 70 or 50, and so what? I really don't get it. It may be important maybe to ask questions about how much was spent in organizing this whole celebration, and whether that amount couldn't have been used to provide some service to some specific communities or specific individuals who are facing some critical issues. I think that as a developing country, we also tend to spend time and resources on things that maybe people like us, it really doesn't matter. Are we going to have a situation where the US is celebrating maybe the dollar at 200, or Britain is going to be celebrating the pound at 150 years or whatever number of years that the pound has been? I think some of these, maybe it's some of us, but I don't see the relevance.
Yeah. Well, the question about how much, yesterday someone was talking to me and said maybe we need to find out how much we are spending on that particular ceremony, because it was quite heavy. So you're not alone. Some other people are thinking along the same lines. Professor Joe, let me come to you. But Mr. Brahma, you want to say something?
No, it's fine.
Okay, let me go to Professor Joe. Prof, what's your own take on CDR 60?
Thank you very much, my brother. And I think it's something we have to interrogate very clearly. As my colleague, Dr. Ansan rightly said, I'm not an economist, but the stable dollar is affecting me as a usual traveler and as a Ghanaian. I remember when dollar was 18 to $1, and I had to travel. I know how much I had to cough out then in Cedi equivalent. And you rightly said something about South Africa. It's a country I've been to several times. And when it comes to a country that values its currency, South Africa is one of such countries. And I must commend the current government for the initiative and for what they've been doing so far to make sure we have a better exchange rate in terms of Cedi to dollar. The Ghana at 60, the Cedi at 60 celebration, and one of the anchors that I heard being mentioned there is trying to de-dollarize the country. And my brother, one of the panelists made mention.
Mr.
Brima.
Yeah,
made mention of a number of the industries, a number of machines that were initially charging in dollars have reverted to charging in Ghana cedis. And this is actually what I think may actually help us in getting to where we are going to. You remember when you look at even some of the government appointees or former government appointees who have been prosecuted, and you hear of certain amounts of dollars being used to purchase properties in Ghana, you ask yourself, are we in the US where you spend 1 million or 500,000 or 700,000 in getting these properties? I remember there was a time, I want to recall properly, somewhere in 2015, 2013, thereabout, whereby a government appointee was saying that, oh, I don't remember who the person is, if he or she amass $3 million,
that's I think Vicky, is it Vicky Hammer? I've forgotten the name, but yeah, a young lady like that in government. During the Mahama one.
So So I asked myself, that is the kind of power in the US dollar. Imagine if you convert some of these monies being used to acquire properties being investigated by the current regime. You ask yourself, change it to the current exchange rate, which is about, I think, 12 or less $11. Sometimes I want to understand those who quote in dollars because of the competitive edge. What happens tomorrow if the dollar or Cedi depreciates? At least they will still have their dollars. The Ghanaians have to rally support for the local currency. I want Ghanaians to trade in Cedi only, and enough of dollarization. Personally, anytime I see or I visit a hotel or I go to a place and I see dollars being the mode of transaction, I feel like when you go to certain countries in Africa, they don't accept dollars as a mode of exchange. You have to go to a forex bureau to change your money. And I think with some of these initiatives we put in place by the current government, I see the Cedi getting stronger and stronger by the day. Thank you.
All right, grateful to you, Professor Joe there. Dr. Asante, let me now take you to Parliament, because the National Coalition for Proper Human Sexual Rights has given Parliament 2 weeks to act on Family Values Bill as it threatens nationwide action over further delay. Is this a realistic, how realistic is this target of a 2 weeks ultimatum to Parliament to deal with this bill?
It depends upon where we are now, because I have also listened from the leaders of the House, including the Speaker, where the leader, Mahama Yaraga, said that as far as he's concerned, they are done with the bill. But the Speaker said otherwise.
Yes.
That there are a few things to be done about it.
The Speaker says the 8th Parliament is history, and all business in the 8th Parliament has come to an end. And so the Speaker has announced that anti-LGBTQI plus bill will have to be reintroduced to the House.
Yes. So if it is reintroduced, there's a process that I'm sure is going to go through and all that. I don't see it as a problem, but ultimatum, yes, the group is exercising their right of, getting to know all these things and then making sure that the bill that they presented will see light of day as a law. There's no problem with that. But they cannot give ultimatum as it forces the hand of Parliament to do things against what their plan. No, that cannot happen. Parliament has its own means of working. There is always that, committee that looks at what Parliament would do at a point in time. They go and meet, discuss, and then the business of Parliament is put on paper, and then they follow it. So I don't blame any of the actors within this issue. Those who organize the press conference is within their right to demand any law that they deem fit will regulate the conduct of people and make life better for us. Parliament also, as an institution on its own, will have all its own plan as to how they do things. And at the end of the day, when that one is done, it gets to the executive for assent. As at now, we will watch and see how it unfolds. But the issue about LGBTQ and all that, there are a whole lot of issues about it. And I don't know how they are going to handle it, right? You realize that political actors before elections, civil society groups force them to hear their views on the LGBT+. You recall, one of the churches asked Mr. Mahama, if you are giving the mandate, what would you do in that? And Nana Akufo-Addo, all of them spoke, right? But it's one thing saying what you want to say on a political platform, and then within the international space, when you are also faced with a threat from other communities, that if you don't do A, we will not give you this and all that. All these things come to mind or shape my thinking into believing that I know from international politics perspective, the political space within the global community is chaotic. There are bullies, there are people who bully you into taking certain decisions against your will, simply because you are always there with a cup in hand looking for arms to be given to you. So you cannot, control your own destiny there. You also have pressure within local communities that they say, hey, this is against our cultural rights and that we don't want to see and all that. How do you balance the two becomes a problem. If you take any of the sides, are you prepared for consequence and all that? So it's a very murky situation. But the good news is that if you're listening to the political actors from both sides of the political divide, they give us the impression that they are for this bill that will sanitize the system, that will also keep our culture intact and then preserve the sanctity of our culture as well. It is my hope and prayer that all the things they said in support of this bill, they will not run away from it, but they will support it and shepherd it to the promised land.
Okay.
But having taken that decision, they are also prepared to meet the consequence of their action within the global community. And they have what it takes to be able to, maintain themselves within the global space.
All right. Let me bring in Mr. Brima here. Mr. Brima, from all that we've heard about this bill, compromises here and there, how confident are you that this could become a law in this country?
Well, I think what's important is to ensure that whatever piece of legislation that we are putting forward would be a legislation that is necessary, relevant, and the process of getting it in place follows due process and procedure. I don't think that we should make pieces of legislation on the basis of emotions, on the basis of partisanship, and on the basis of how a particular piece of law would favor or disadvantage the political fortunes of a party in opposition or a party in power. Increasingly, I am beginning to feel that this particular bill or this particular the processes around this particular legislation is being given some political connotations. Because I remember listening to some of the MPs recently, and it was about, oh, you were running away from it, now you do it. Oh, you do it because you were running away from it, and all of that. I think it was the minority leader that I heard even talk about, I think he was referring to the education minister and saying that, you guys were prepared for it, and now you are a minister and you know the consequences of having this piece of legislation passed because your international donors and supporters would now come after you and all of that. Why should we be working on a piece of legislation and be thinking about the implications if we think it's something that is right for our country? If it was wrong then, it must be wrong now. If it was right then, it must be right now. And I think what is important is for Parliament to really go through the processes of legislation, rather than, it was passed before and it must be done or dealt with within the next 1 week or 2 weeks, otherwise this and that. I think we need to put the emotions aside and recognize that whatever it is, we need to go through the processes.
Okay.
I'm not a legislator, I'm not a lawyer, but I think it is common knowledge that when the life of a particular parliament expires, processes that were undertaken by that parliament, except if it became a law. But if it never became a law, we cannot say that, oh, it was passed by the previous parliament and therefore, it is the same Ghanaian parliament and let us just have it passed. I think the common practice is that it has to go through the process again. And so if that is what it is, let's all be patient and let it go through the process. And of course, if there are comments and questions that we need to ask as part of the process, because the previous processes involved, external consultations and all of that. Perhaps we need to subject it to all that. Since then, have things changed? And this is a human rights law. And so matters of human rights, we need to be really very careful about how we go about it. So that's what I would say.
I'm grateful to you, Mr. Brima, and thanks to you, Dr. Kwame Asasante and Professor Joe as well for joining us on News Review. This is the AM show brought to you by the Kenoga Company Limited and also by Syntex Tanks. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more. Please do stay.
In Elmina, water has become a luxury. For weeks, taps have run dry, and for many here in the central region, even a single bucket of water is a blessing. For hours, 72-year-old Jennifer Dazi waits by the tap, the same one she's visited every morning this week. Sometimes it flows at dawn, and sometimes not at all. She does not leave, because if she does, she will miss the moment it opens. At her age, the search for water has become her daily routine. When the tap fails, she turns to sachet water. 2 sachets to rinse her cassava, 2 more to boil it. Each one costing money she does not have. But what choice does she have? Grandma Jennifer's struggle is not hers alone. Across Elmina, hundreds wake up to the same search, buckets in hand, hope in heart. They all say one thing: this suffering must end.
When ya wufa wash one, no when ya for wash one. Into the Bible way or son pa on yadan. I'm sure buckets no quite change. So this government is doing well for us or what? Ya patrol on your nature Central region yellow bread or do. Why are you suffering from water to drink, water to bath? We don't like distance. So please, the man should make everything possible to the water to fall.
With the River Bra heavily polluted by illegal mining, the Setrehiman water treatment plant is struggling to draw enough raw water. The result? Rationing, shortages, and rising frustrations.
So let the water flow. That is what we need. Since she oba came with them call about. And then Sunaba, Bokitaba, Sabokitana, no waiter. Bokitabian, no waiter. For 4 gallons simple was the waiter, no waiter, so waiter. And then Ebasa, Ebiet, equal, Ebiet. No, why,
we met a man moving from house to house, buckets in hand, searching for water. After several stops, he gave up, bought 3 cedis worth of sachet water, and went home to bath. 6 sachets. That's what it takes for a bath now. He did not want to speak on camera, but his silence said enough.
3 days we'll be into Mumbali. If you got on 2 cedis. Pure water, 4. No, they got. For what?
Mabina too has not seen the bathroom today. Like many others, she's been waiting since morning, hoping the tap would open, even for a few minutes. Her last proper bath was 2 days ago.
I want to say, ya pacho, me yensu, yengwan, ni yenyebi. Ya we yanyama, yanyama yina yefi, or she says a bicycle to Mrs. Dame. Why? Why?
Elizabeth manages a small private water business started by her late father. Her home has now become a gathering point for dozens of residents.
Galamsey funo ona mo wo into normal sisenso wide no odame so I wonder botu in the 3 days about poto dey nene ye wade netukla ngutu me direction.
I will speak to him directly. President John Dramani Mahama. Central region, we are suffering too much. Yellow blood do. As the Baman Zame Hinala, your fonto mamma hen, a yellow children. A porto, your porto, Elmina people, we are suffering from water. Please help us.
The people of Elmina are not asking for much, just water to drink, to cook, and to live. They say the promise by governments to stop illegal mining must not remain a campaign promise. It must be action that brings water back to their homes. Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy News, Elmina, Central Region.
Welcome back from the break. This is still the AM show brought to you by Kenoga Company Limited and Syntex Tanks. Now, 14 people who were working on a building escaped death yesterday at Roman Ridge in a building collapse incident that appears not to be new in the country, raising questions about structural integrity deficits and how this can be prevented going forward in the building and construction sector. Is it one of lack of proper supervision and regulation or quality personnel? We'll unpack the issues with our guest today. But I have a statement from the Ghana Institution of Engineering, and I want to share that with you. It says the Ghana Institution of Engineering, GHIE, has received reports of the structural collapse that occurred on Tuesday, 28th October 2025, at an ongoing construction site managed by Fabrico Builders at Roman Ridge, Accra. The GHIE expresses its deep concern and sympathy to all affected individuals and their families. The institution notes with worry the growing frequency of building collapses across the country and calls for urgent, coordinated and transparent action to address the root causes of such incidents. It says, while the Ghana National Fire Service has indicated its intention to investigate the incident, the GHIE calls on the government of Ghana to institute an independent technical investigation to determine the underlying causes of the collapse. It is vital that the findings of such investigations lead to meaningful reforms and accountability. Past investigations into similar occurrences have not resulted in the sustained changes required to strengthen safety and regulatory compliance in the construction sector. If decisive measures are not taken now, these tragic incidents risk becoming routine, with innocent lives needlessly lost. The GHIE therefore urges the Ministry of Works, Housing and Water Resources, in collaboration with relevant state agencies, to immediately constitute an independent committee of inquiry comprising experts from 1, the Engineering Council of Ghana, the Architect Registration Council, the Ghana National Fire Service, the National Disaster Management Organization, the Local Government Service, and the Ghana Institution of Engineering. This committee should review and strengthen 1, the building permitting and approval processes, the enforcement of the Ghana Building Code, the compliance and supervision mechanisms for construction projects, and the certification and regulation of contractors, developers, and professionals involved in the built environment. The Ghana Institution of Engineering stands ready to support the authorities with technical expertise and collaborate in developing practical measures to prevent future tragedies. These are the story. This is a statement coming from the Ghana Institution of Engineering. But let's go on Zoom now and bring in our guest here, who has already joined us for us to start this particular conversation on this important matter. And I'll be joining my guest very shortly so we can have this. We have Desmond Aka on phone and Dr. Joseph Dankwa joining us via Zoom. Okay, Dr. Joseph Dankwa is an architect. Let me start with you, Dr. Joseph Dankwa. Doc, grateful that you could join us here. From all that we've heard, I'm sure you are an industry person, so you might have done your own digging as well. What do you know so far about what happened at the Roman Ridge?
Thank you, and good morning to your cherished listeners. I think from yesterday, looking at the information that has been gathered so far, for now, what we have heard is from the contractor, who says that it was due to the formwork collapse. Of course, formwork collapse is also a form of a structural failure, because your formwork needs to be designed such that it's able to carry specific loads. And it's a temporary support. You're supposed to carry it until the structure is able to self-support itself according to the design loads and specification that has been given to it. So when a formwork fails, definitely it's a structural failure. In fact, there are places that, in fact, your design for the formwork has to be approved before it starts. But this is also missing in our regulations in terms of enforcement and compliance. So definitely, yes.
So you might want to help us, because if you say formwork, it's a bit technical. Is that the foundation as we know in our local parlance or what?
No, here we call it the props and then the shuttering system.
Okay.
Okay. Some you will use the timber, wood, others will use bamboo. Okay. But if I look at the structure itself, you could see that, yes, you have the timber support that has actually failed. Some use it in combination with metal props. So that is what I call the formwork failure.
Okay.
So in any multi-story building, you are supposed to have this designed and certified by the engineer, or the engineer on site should be able to ensure that this structure and the design of that formwork is able to carry the specific loads, the live loads that are coming on it, and the dead loads that is already ingrained in the structure itself. So once that is not done, definitely there's bound to be failure. And sometimes the failure will also come about during its operation. This was the pouring of the wet concrete, and therefore there's always supposed to be an ensuring that you inspect the formwork as and when it is being poured, so that if there's any loose bolts or any loose nuts, then these things are tightened. And sometimes you can have even the ground or caving in. So all these things need to be done before the pouring of the concrete. And I believe that for this, I believe it's more of an oversight, whereby the engineer at site overlooked this critical situation and allowed this to happen. So definitely it's a form of a structural failure.
So it's not an issue of, say, you didn't get it right from the foundation level.
No, for now, because the Ghana Institute of Engineers are calling for an investigation, it's only when you dig deeper, that is when you'll be able to know whether it's a control or it's just a singular thing attributed by the contractor, as we hear for now. But then it can be multiple of factors. Just like I said, you can have your design of your formwork, that's the support system. And if, for example, your ground fails in terms of settlement, definitely there's no way the formwork is going to stand. So were there any form of soil investigation that was done in terms of the technical investigation that was done and given to the engineer to know the soil capacity in terms of bearing capacity so that they'll be able to engineer the type of support system that will be given to it? So if that has not been done, definitely. And this is where you look at institutional lapses in terms of permitting procedures, in terms of professionalism. Who are those who are responsible for the kind of permitting and approval processes that went into this? All these things will have to be looked into if we want to establish the true cause of this failure.
Okay, I'll come back to you, but let me bring in Desmond Aka. He is head PR for the Ghana National Fire Service. Desmond, I mean, we saw your men there, and you indicated that you were to go into the investigation of this particular happening. What do we know so far in terms of this collapse that we've seen at Roman Ridge?
Well, good morning to your cherished viewers. It is important that as a lead agency, when it comes to emergency response of this nature, we collaborate with all relevant agencies, especially the built environment, to be able to do a thorough investigation and come out actually let fire. We have to take yes, happen that we would have to.
Ms. Aka, sorry, but the line keeps, it keeps breaking, so we are not able to follow you well. We'll try and connect with you again. Let me bring him back. Architect Dr. Joseph Dankwa, Senior Research Scientist and Head Geoinformatics, NATC. Doc, so if you listen to the call by the Ghana Institution of Engineers, and they are calling for the formation of, an independent committee of inquiry. And if you listen to what they want them to do, review and strengthen the building permitting and approval processes, the enforcement of the Ghana Building Code, the compliance and supervision mechanisms of construction project. But in terms of this particular destruction, where should they start from to really understand what went wrong? From my little understanding, maybe when I go in there, I would want to see how was the foundation dug, what was the foundation in terms of this concreting and all of that, the width, size, and what have you. But you are the expert. What should they really be looking out for to understand what caused this failure?
Thank you. I think there are multiple factors that needs to be looked at. I've already talked about institutional lapses.
Yeah.
So for any building to be put up, you need to have a permit. And before you have a permit, there are certain documentation that needs to be followed, where standards and specifications are put in place and designed accordingly. We have our building regulations, we have the Ghana Building Code, we have the Local Governance Act. All these things ensure compliance to building regulations that needs to be enacted and then enforced when it comes to the construction of facilities like this. So the first thing will be, does the building have the permit, the needed permit, in terms of its structural compliance, okay, and even zoning laws. So once these documentations are ascertained in terms of whether they complied with the regulations and the standards and specifications as specified in the regulations and act, then definitely that is when then you can then go on and look at what actually happened on the ground. There are times that you have the approval given and they will have all the approval processes and they have specified the standards and etc. But then when they go to site, then there's a short change. So yes, you may have the approval processes done, but then when it comes to compliance, you said you are going to use a mixing ratio for your structural members. Was this followed according to what has been stated and approved? So these things will have to now be checked to see whether the standards were followed. So that is when then you can then diagnose and then go into detail as to exactly what has been the cause or what were the causes. There are times that even the engineer on site may not even have the knowledge as to how the building is supposed to be propped up or supported. Okay, so all these things will have to be looked at. professional negligence will have to also be looked at in terms of that. We have always talked about the inadequacies of MMDAs in terms of when it comes to complex structures in our urban centers, where we call for the need for collaboration with the professional bodies. I believe that some of the agencies that exist assemblies are doing that, but in terms of capacity, because now the capacity itself, no matter how they collaborate, it's not enough. You need constant supervision and constant enforcement. And this is where the problem is. Yes, you will have the approval processes by the professionals, but then when it comes to the supervision, actually what goes on site, that is where the issues are. Because that is where contractors and individuals, builders will have to look at how can I maximize my profit. And this is where quality control checks are ignored. And this is where we have the problems in this case.
Mm. Okay, stay with me. Let me bring in Samson Deklu, who is agent of Built Environment at the Bureau of Public Safety. Samson, grateful to you for joining us here. Now, I'm sure that since this issue happened, you've also tried to dig into, to gather your own preliminary thought. What have you found to have caused what we reported from Rage yesterday?
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers, and good morning to Dr. Joseph Dankwa as well. I believe he remembers me very well. Yes, so I mean, like Doc rightly stated, I read on Asase that the authorities of Dedef Traco have made mention that this is a purely issue of a firmware collapse, and I mean we've also made a lot of other data as gathered on the internet by the media houses. So it looks like Doc said, as part of a structural collapse together with the structure and the firmware. So it's obvious this needs further investigation to really establish the root cause of what has happened and what caused this to happen. So there are a number of things that might need to go into the investigations for us to establish what really caused this to happen at this moment. Because a lot might have gone wrong, a lot might have been done, like from design to the approval, to the implementation, to the supervision. Who didn't do what's right or who got what wrong before, we can conclude totally on it.
Well, but this is just one. Recently we had one in Kaswa. This keeps happening in this country. What are we not getting right that we keep reporting or getting incidents of building collapses in this country?
Issues of building collapses can not be taken out totally from the built environment. There might be issues of negligence, there might be issues of poor materials and all that. But case by case, the issues are not the same. The issue of Kakaswa, it was purely over the years, we've not having had a report from these collapses to be able to establish what really have been the causes from which we will take up lessons from. This also is another incident that we might even talk about. There will be investigations and the outcomes might not be made public for us to even learn lessons from. So it seems more like we keep repeating the same mistakes over and over again, because if reports are conducted and results are shared, I'm sure experts or professionals in the space will take cue from this on subsequent projects. So again, we need to be conscious as a people, as a country, to be able to ensure that some of these things don't frequently happen. How do we ensure that? By putting out the results of some of these accidents, so that we know that maybe we are lacking on the implementation aspects, or maybe we are lacking on the design aspects, or we are lacking at the supervision aspect. So authorities put in more effort. If it means that someone have given approval for a 2-story, or have been given approval for a 3-story, and at the implementation stage, a lot of the nitty-gritties are not taken into consideration, like ensuring that you supervise whatever form work engineering needs to be done. You ensure that all the checks about the soil bearing capacity has been done. So until we know some of these, we will continue explaining best practice, but might not know what actually is the real cause or the root cause of these building collapses for us to take you from and take lessons from.
All right, do stay with me. Let me bring back Desmond Aka. He's head PR for Ghana National Fire Service. They were on the ground when this particular matter happened, and I'm sure there are things they've gathered. So I'm grateful to you, Desmond Aka, for joining. What have your men gathered so far on this particular building collapse?
Well, so as I earlier on indicated, as at the time we got there, the structure had caved in, and already they had evacuated 12 of their workers to the nearby hospital. And so we only helped in to assist with 2 other people who also sustained some injuries, and then send them to the Ridge Hospital as well. But we have always maintained that this is not the first time a structure of this nature has collapsed, and therefore there will be a need for a collaborative, thorough investigation into what actually exactly led to this unfortunate structural collapse.
So there are no casualties yet from this particular incident?
Yes, 14 people suffered varying degrees of injury. As at yesterday, around 9 p.m., we had the information that some of them had been discharged from the hospital, except a few whose conditions were critical. The doctors would have to do extra work on them. But we were also assured that they were all out of danger. So we are praying and believing that hopefully soon they would also be discharged. But investigations have commenced. Yesterday, as a precautionary measure, we succeeded in cordoning off the area and then instructing that the contractors hold on with any further construction until such a time that we'll be able to conclude the investigation on what actually led to this incident, and then also come up with measures to forestall future occurrence of such a structural collapse.
Okay. But from your preliminary investigations, are you pointing to anything to have been the cause of this collapse?
Well, we don't want to jeopardize or prejudice the outcome of whatever investigation that the team would come out with. So therefore, we would want to still give them the benefit of the doubt to do their work. The team is made up of experts, especially in the built environment space, who would also bring the expertise on board. So that this one too many structural collapse that we have been experiencing in recent times is actually making the bad.
There are concerns about report on such collapses not being made public so that we can learn from them. Why don't we have these reports being made public so we can all learn from why these collapses?
Well, for us, every incident has an owner. And once we conclude with our report, we submit it to the appropriate courts. And therefore, it becomes their prerogative to make the content public. In times past, we have had some legal issues in disclosing content of such reports. And therefore, we do not want to fall victim again to such matters. So normally, we'll do the needful and then submit such report to appropriate agency. And it behoves on them to make it public. And I believe that if this investigative team, if it is constituted by a higher body, would also help so that at the end of the day, when they are done, the authority that will receive it, they would also ensure that it is given a public hearing. But sometimes too, for public safety and for other measures to also be brought to bear to prevent some of these things. It is not also right that some of the sensitive things in the report will also be made public. So there are two sides to the whole issue. So whatever needs to be made public, I am in support that for policy change and policy direction, those consent must be made public. And whatever needs to also be shielded to also help to preserve the sanctity of whoever is involved would also be kept as such, so that they help us to build a better society going forward.
But if you say you present to relevant authorities, which authority are we talking about here?
Well, so like I indicated, every incident has an owner, and therefore, when it comes to structural collapse, normally it falls within the ambit of the district assembly, which is the approving agency that gives the permit for such structures to be constructed. And therefore, they become the appropriate authority to receive that report. Sometimes, most often than not, when they receive the report, it becomes their responsibility to disclose the content to the general public. So maybe going forward, what we may do this time around is that when the report is done with and submitted, we may let you know so that you could also do the necessary follow-up to ensure that you get to know the content of that report.
It will be important so that we can all learn together. But do you find a commonality amongst all the collapse that we've had in this country in terms of the findings of your investigations into these occurrences?
Well, every incident is different. And even though there may be some similarities or commonality in whatever caused the structure to come down, there are still areas of varying differences or different factors that lead to some of these collapse. So it is important that every incident of this nature is investigated, and then we get to know the root causes, the remote causes, and then appropriate measures to put in place to forestall such incidents. We should not treat every incident as the same, because the conditions or the factors that probably would lead to one collapse will be definitely different from the other scenario. So even though there may be some commonality, there still appears to be differences or different factors leading to some of these collapses.
But what are these what is or are these commonalities that you speak of, if you found any at all? Yeah.
The common issues borders on lack of supervision. Supervision in terms of the professionals on site doing what is expected of them. That is one. The other two has to do with the material used for these constructions. And probably if the materials are of low standard, it leads to some of these unfortunate collapses. And then also, if there is disregard for safety regulations, it leads to some of these. So basically, these are some of the similarities that we have seen in most of these collapses that has happened in recent times.
I mean, these ones, is it because the builders want to cut costs, or it is the fact that the builders do not know that they have to do the things we talk about? I mean, that we need to have qualified people to supervise the project. We need to buy materials of high standards so that, I mean, and then also by staying with the tenet of regulations or safety regulations that govern the built environment.
Well, like I indicated, the factors are myriad. It could also be that maybe the developers would want to make as much profit as much as possible, and other times to if the supervision is not properly done. And then also, if it happens that they don't get qualified, competent professionals to be able to do the work, it leads to some of these things. So we'll be glad if the investigative team will do a thorough job.
Okay.
And then help us to be able to unravel the circumstances, the root cause of this particular one, so as to be able to help us come up with safety or measures or policies, regulations that would help us to be able to stamp or to prevent future incidents.
Have you heard from the owners of this building? I mean, when your men were on the field and in trying to investigate, have you heard from them? What did they tell you?
No, we have not spoken to the owners. But yesterday we made contact with the site manager, and then he was so helpful with the information and all that. But we are yet to have a meeting with the developers or the owners, and then also get to know their side. But I believe, by and large, the investigative team should be able to get in touch with them and then solicit for all the required information that will help them in their work.
Okay. All right. I'm grateful. Let me bring in architect Dr. Joseph Dankwa. So, Doc, you heard Mr. Aka there. We are talking about lack of qualified people to supervise the project, use of low-graded materials, and disregard for safety regulations. I mean, what do we do? Is it the fact that the builders want to really save costs, or it is just they not knowing that these are things they need to be doing? Where do we point to?
Yeah, thank you. As I was listening to Mr. Aka, and then he talking about regulations in terms of when they finish with their findings as to who is supposed to be entitled for a finding in terms of information. I got a bit worried because that has been the common strand between all the collapses that we've had. So see, if we don't have the information of the finding, delivered to the public, for them to know exactly who and what was the cause, that is where there's going to be a deterrent. There should be that kind of accountability when it comes to collapses, because this is more of a public interest. This is not a private property. The moment that this assembly gives that authority and the mandate for you to construct, the Local Government Act gives and empowers the municipal and district assemblies the authority and the power to physical supervision of all physical development within their zones and mandates. So definitely, when there's a collapse, definitely it's a public interest. And that's why we call for every information on the findings to be made public. It is only when we do this that we are going to have deterrent, on the side of whoever, be it the professional, be it the contractor, be it the owner. Because definitely, if we have these findings shown to the public, definitely we'll know who was at fault. And in fact, because of some of these things, that is when then we can have that kind of quality control, even on site, whether there's going to be inspection physically or not. So that is one. Again, we have the weaker enforcement. And because of this, that is why owners, builders, and contractors will want to do their own way, because they can have their own ways. When we have strict enforcement, do we know that, in fact, after you have been given the permit, when you are supposed to construct and commence construction, you are supposed to still receive a certificate of commencement from the assembly. But most of the times, the moment the permit is given, that's all. So you don't have the building inspectors going around to look at what actually is happening on site in terms of quality control and whether they are following the standards. So once this lapse is there, definitely you are going to have a business person who wants to maximize his profit. And that is where the problem is. The gaps are there, and they are there at each level. And for me, if we want to curtail this, it still goes back to the district assemblies. because they have the power. They can instruct and then they can form bylaws even to specific buildings as to how it's supposed to be constructed or how it's supposed to be appropriated in that sense. So if the power of the district assemblies are not being realized, then definitely this is where it is up to the district assembly whether it's going to be the enforcement section or it's going to be the fiscal development department of the MMDs. If it means that we should have capacity building to build them up and being supported by the professional bodies, that is when we can have these things. And I believe that for every calamity in terms of collapse and etc., we should not leave it to the district assemblies. The professional bodies can come together and immediately commence. They should not need any form of government approval, etc. If government mandates them, then definitely they will have that oversight responsibility that in case of any disaster, then they, together with the emergency services, should commence investigation immediately. And once that is done, then they make the findings public. And I believe that when these things are done, definitely there's going to be that kind of form of tolerance in terms of who is shortchanging, be it material, be it professional oversight, be it quality control on site or elsewhere.
But I bet this may not be the last one. So how do we use this occurrence to be the platform on which we say would ensure that we reduce the rate at which these things happen due to, negligence or people trying to shortchange the whole process?
I think the media can also help us. There's the Right to Information Act. And I believe that when these findings are submitted, we have the duty of requesting for this information. I don't think this is a private information. So I believe that some of these things, the pressure should be mounted on the district assemblies, as Mr. Akka was saying, that when the findings are submitted, sometimes they are also culpable, so they want to show that. Because then otherwise, then their weak lapses and the gaps will also be found, in the public media circles. So they want to shield it. But this is where we can put pressure through the Right to Information Act in order to ensure that we get the findings published in the media, so that we all know exactly what were the causes, who were responsible, and what were the actions that are being taken against such people. I believe that is the way forward.
But in terms of the low standard materials, shouldn't the Ghana Standards Authority come in here? Because if I'm buying a cement, a layperson, how would I know that I'm buying a cement which is of good quality or low quality? So the Ghana Standards Authority should probably play a role here in terms of ensuring that there are quality materials on the market for us to buy.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you. And when it comes to enforcement, I mean, in all the sectors, in all the industry sectors, there's that kind of weakness in that. And for the construction industry, over 90% are being done by private persons. And there's that kind of, I wouldn't say ignorance, But when people go to the market, to buy a product, they assume that whatever it is on the market is standard and is approved, And we have influx of cement, we have influx of iron rods from different sources, Day in and day out. I know that the Ghana Standard Authority are doing their bit, but it's not enough because they are also not coming up with who and which products are the ones that are recommended for us to use. We have a lot of cement brands that are in the market, that flooded the market, but as the Ghana Standard Authority come to tell us that these brands are not good and therefore we should not go for it. And this is where I continue to say that the institutions will do their investigations, they'll do their inspection, but when it comes to the findings, there is that seemingly reluctance to release those information to the public, for the public good. Because it's only when it's in the public that I will know that this brand of cement, I should not go for it. But because the findings are exclusive to their end and their entity, you hardly find those kinds of things being published so that the public will know some of these things in terms of which one is the quality and which one is not, from that point. And so from that arena, or that perspective, then the labs lie solely on the Ghana Standard Authority in that aspect. But be it that made, when you are doing any form of construction or undertaking such an expensive endeavor, you need to contract the right professionals, because the right professionals that will guide you into information from the Ghana Standards Authority, what is best and what is not best. For example, if you are doing concrete, definitely you need to do your batching, you need to know exactly the materials that you are using on site, and then you test it. That is when you'll be able to know exactly whether the strength that you need is actually from this brand or not. And if it's not, that is when then you alter the ratios and etc. But these things are not done. Okay, we assume that when we buy, for example, gasoline and it's 42.5, immediately we'll be able to use it for structural loads, etc. from that point. But that is not the case. You need to always do the experimentation, okay, and the trials, so that you'll be able to know exactly what is the strength that is required for this specific work.
Okay, let me bring in the MC for Ayawaso West, Dr. Michael Mensah, because it is his jurisdiction that this particular one happened. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. I'm sure everybody who talks about this says that the assembly within which these collapses happen must have a role to play. What do you know so far on this collapse that has happened?
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity. Yesterday I was there with you, and the information we picked was that they had poured a fresh concrete and the prop or the support actually failed them. And the information we had yesterday was that nobody was injured. That's the information we had. And thankfully you were there with me. We met 2 people, and that was the information we had. And I also told you that I was going to constitute a committee to investigate it. Luckily, God being so good, I have done that. And this morning, before you called me, we have actually met to start or to commence our investigation. So that is what I can say so far. We want to start the investigation, so I believe that by midday or by close of day, we would have gotten details of what actually happened yesterday.
Will the findings of this committee be made public so that we also get to know what exactly the issues are?
Absolutely. If you want it public, we'll make it public. If that's what we want. We actually want to ensure that the right things are done. We want to see if they have failed in their quest to put up that structure. But if you want to have access to the outcome of the investigation, yes, we can make it available to you.
Do they have permit anyway?
They do.
Okay.
They do. They have permit.
And were your engineers going to site to check whether or not they are complying with the tenet of the permit?
Come again?
Were engineers from your assembly going to site to check whether or not they were complying with the conditions associated with the permit?
You were asking if they are going to check whether they were complying.
Exactly. If there's anything.
Absolutely.
Like that.
They would have to check if they were complying, because normally when we issue a permit, before the work begins, there would be inspection to ensure that the right things are done.
Okay.
So you build up to it. So from time to time, they need to go and make sure that the right things are done. So definitely, this investigation would unravel what actually happened and how to guard against such incidents in future.
So we can now be okay that officers from your assembly were going there regularly, but just that the accident has occurred.
Oh, I didn't quite get that.
Okay, so I was trying to find out from you that can we trust that officers from Ayawaso West were going to this site regularly to check on the work before this accident happened?
Yes. As I told you yesterday, what happened is something that occurs or happens from time to time.
Okay.
Yesterday's incident happens from time to time. If the props are not properly checked, or if the support, when I say props, I'm talking about the support. You know, when you are casting concrete, you have support under. If the support are not well enforced, and then sometimes if the place is slopey, you are likely to have problems of this nature.
Okay.
So we'll actually go into it and make sure that this does not occur again.
Have you spoken to the developers yourself?
I haven't spoken to the developer yet.
Okay.
That is why we have actually sanctioned this meeting. The developer is will be part of the meeting.
All right. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us this morning. We'll be glad to speak to you again after the meeting today. So that Dr. Michael Mensah, he is the MC for Ayawaso West there. Dr. Dankwa, you heard the MC there about the measures they've put in place. They've actually commenced investigation. They've set up a committee to look into this. Way to go, right?
Yes. Yes. I think that is the way to go. But just like we're saying, it is not if we need the information to be public, it should be mandatory. That once this has happened, definitely when the findings are done, it has to come to the public. It shouldn't be upon request. It should be out in the public so that it educates all of us and not sitting on the desk of the assembly. I mean, that has been the case. If you look at all the collapses that has happened with all the investigations, you ask, sometimes you will never find it anywhere, online, for you to know exactly what has been the critical lapses that has taken over these years. So once these things are not there, definitely, there is going to be, things will be one at a time, and then that will be it. And then the next time it happens, we are going to say that once the investigation are done, it's going to be the thing of the past. We are going to ensure that it never happens again. But it will continue to happen if we continue to behave in this way in terms of how we approach some of these things.
Would it be strange that this has happened if indeed it is proven that engineers from the assembly were regularly going to the site to check on the construction?
Really, I don't know when they say regular, what because you see the regulation gives specific levels at which the assembly is mandated to go for the inspection. And of course, the assembly also has the authority to go there at any point in time when they foresee that certain critical conditions needs to be met, So that's why I said that the power rests on the assembly, because they will know the complexity of that structure and therefore at what stages that they need to actually go and then inspect whether these things are done. I don't know whether they went to inspect whether the props were actually constructed very well to support the system. And as he was saying that there's an investigation going on. So definitely he will need to find out from the building inspectors responsible for that area whether they actually did that and when was that done. At the point where they were pouring the concrete, were there a kind of inspection prior to that? And this information will need to come out in terms of the findings so that we know exactly where exactly was the problem.
All right. Let me bring in Samson Deklu of the Bureau of Public Safety. Samson, so you've had the assembly set up the committee there. For you, what should be their focus in terms of ensuring that there's, all of us in a built environment will feel safe?
Their focus for us should be the implementation of the outcome of these reports and making it public, because you need to instill some confidence in the public. I mean, this has become a public building. The reason why over the years we still keep getting these issues is because nobody is being held responsible for whatever casualties or whatever collapses happened. The reports are, with their investigations, reports are produced, and nobody even knows what these report details contain. And nobody is even held responsible for anything. So it means that over and over again, people will keep defying the same regulations. Mr. Desmond made mention of the fact that a lot of people don't adhere to safety measures. Over the years, have someone been held liable for actually causing someone's life? No. So that this should be probably a turning point for us. The investigations, great. The outcomes should be made public, not just on demand, should be made public. And whoever is found culpable is taken through the law and sanctions are meted out. That's the only way others will take you and do what is right, so that we minimize some of these collapses going forward. Until then, we'll be seeing most of this happening day in and day out. Because like Mr. Desmond said, adherence to safety measures is probably zero at most of these our sites. So that is what we think should be the focus. The outcome should be published, and someone needs to be held liable should he or she be found culpable of it.
I'm grateful to you, Samson Deklu, agent of Built Environment at the Bureau of Public Safety. Also to you, architect Dr. Joseph Dankwa, senior research scientist and head geoinformatics at NATC. Desmond Aka is head PR, Ghana National Fire Service, and also Dr. Michael Mensah, MC for Ayawaso West there. This is still the AM show. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more, please. Don't go away. All right, so welcome again to the AM show. It's time for us to talk about something that's going to be happening over the weekend. You need to be there because there's a lot that will be happening. It's the EcoBank Joy Business SME Fair, which is a premier event dedicated to empowering Ghana's small and medium scale enterprises. It's happening from Friday, October 31 to Sunday, November 2, 2025 at the Good Park. Good Park is just opposite the Accra Mall, so be there because there's a lot happening. And in the studio, I've been joined by some incredible young people, and it's glad when you see young people doing things like that. On my extreme left is, let me start from ladies first. I was going to break a code. It was going to be very terrible. So close to me is Blessing Utah. She is the MD of Woes Team Limited, Managing Director. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
I love
How are you?
The design of your hair.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Thank you so much.
And then I have Eugenia Mmefa, who doesn't want to tell me her surname, but it's fine. She's a PR for Iblis Boutique. Hi,
yes.
Eugenia.
Hi.
How are you?
Very good.
Okay. Love the very good thing.
Thank you.
And then the man there is Steve Thompson. He's a comms and operations executive with M-Ticket Ghana. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, so let me start with you, Blessing. If we say, is it Woes Team?
Yeah, so Woes Team Limited is just the initial of my whole name.
Okay.
Yes. So the Y is Yaira. So Yaira is my name, but then I love it when people call me Blessing because I'm a blessing.
Oh.
Yes.
Sweet one.
Thank you.
I think that's the reason your father gave you Blessing.
Thank you.
He wanted you to be a blessing. So what do you do?
So I am a small business owner and into textile and skincare. Okay. And also we have an NGO. Okay. Yeah, so these things that we do, we just want to train people. I mean, my focus is the rural communities where people are deprived on getting to where they want. I mean, potential dreams just die. And I mean, being a product of such a community and seeing what God is doing with me, I just want to take it back to where I started from. And it's not all about building by myself, but building together as a community. And that's why we have the business.
So what was that thing that gave you that edge that I need to start this business?
So I'll say back to my late mother. She was a businesswoman, though she wasn't educated, but I am privileged to have a bit of education and blend it to the upcoming what I was nurtured. Yes, so I'm taking it back to the community and to point out potentials and to transform their creativity. Okay. Yeah.
I'll come back to you for you to tell me why or what got you to say I want to be part of the EcoBank Joy Business SME Fair. But let me go to Eugenia. Okay, so Eugenia, what your business is Iblis Boutique.
Yes.
By the name, I guess you are into clothing.
Okay. Yes. So Iblis Boutique, we are located
at East Legon Hills.
Hey.
And we are into, as the name goes, we supply or provide women clothing.
Okay.
That's to wide range of women and variety of clothing. We have the casual wears, we have the corporate wears that serves wide range of clients in all industries. And then we have our luxury wears. And when we talk about luxury wears, we have our all white. If you are going for that all white party, Iblis is the place to stop.
No.
If you are going to have that all black party or some all black occasion, Iblis is the place to stop. Yeah, so that's what we provide.
East Legon Hills there.
Yes.
It means they be high end or
Okay, so as I said, we have different varieties.
Okay.
So for everyone, just give us a call or pass by our shop and you have it.
We shouldn't be scared by the
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared by the location. Go there and get yourself sorted out. But so what gave you that motivation, or what informed you to say we want to be part of this EcoBank Joy Business Fair, SME Fair?
Okay, we know that it's going to give us a bigger platform to reach a wide range of customers. Currently, we deliver to all regions across Ghana and some outside Ghana. Yes, but then using this platform for the EcoBank Joy SME Fair, we are going to reach out and have direct contact with some of our clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do your product locally?
No.
Okay.
All
right.
Yeah.
I wanted to understand just because you said.
Okay.
Let me now bring in Steve. Steve,
Yes.
what does M-Ticket Ghana do?
Okay, so M-Ticket is on a sole mission of changing the way we board and book buses in Ghana.
Hey.
M-Ticket is a digital ticketing platform that you can access buses from wherever you are in Ghana. You can access bus tickets actually from wherever you are in Ghana in the comfort of your home. It's just by dialing the short code *265#. You register, you follow the prompts wherever you need. Okay, we are glad to actually be affiliated with some of the big bus brands like STC, OA, VIP, VVIP. So you sit in the comfort of your homes, avoid the hassle of going through long queues and all of that. Sit at home, book your tickets, go to the bus station, sit in your bus, and go everywhere.
Oh.
Yes. So at M-Ticket, we actually want to come out with human experiences more. So we try as much as possible to make your travel a very tranquil one, to use, for want of a better word, a very tranquil one, where you sit in the comfort of your home, book everything. When you go, you just sit in the bus, you go wherever you are, you come back. There's no hassle. You dial the short code, get in there. We do the back-end business for you, so you don't have to join any queues. You don't have to go and hassle with a bus conductor anywhere. Just 265, and you're on your way.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes.
So what must we expect of you at this SME Fair?
Yes. So we like to call ourselves both product and service. You know, some people will say, okay, they are just products. We, M-Ticket itself, the brand itself is a product, because we're actually giving people a certain kind of experience that has never been felt before right now in Ghana. When you go to the busing system in Ghana, you always have to go to the bus stations, stand there in long queues, especially during the weekends and on holidays. You know how choked those places get. What we are offering you, what we are offering the whole of Ghana, is for you to have that comfort of sitting in your home and just dialing the short code, getting your bus ticket from wherever you are, just entering the bus station, showing them your special code, and entering the bus.
Okay.
So that's what we are all about, M-Ticket, yes.
All right. So do you have special offers then, or say discount you are going to offer at this SME Fair?
Yes. Actually, we sat down and we thought about the fact that per my experiences with the Joy brands, I've actually realized that when you put your brands on this platform, the reviews you're going to get are actually rave. So we decided to make it a point to make sure that everybody who comes to this fair gets 40% discount after registering. We would have our stand there. Our stand would have ushers and people, resource people you have to go and talk to. We are also glad to have some, for want of a better word, very influential people who have co-signed to the brand. We have Edem, we have Kobiche.
Edem.
Yes. Yes. So now he's not Aigbe anymore, he's just Edem.
Edem.
Yes. So we have Edem, we have Kobiche, and a few other notable personalities and influencers who are also co-signing to the brand. So when you come to the Joy EcoBank, Joy Business EcoBank SME Fair.
EcoBank Joy Business SME Fair.
Yes, it's quite a mouthful for me, so I'm just getting. So EcoBank Joy Business SME Fair. You are likely to come and catch one of these your brand influencers at our store. Okay. We are on hand to also give you experiences of how to register, how to go through it, and then we'll be giving out some freebies as well. So, yes, you're always welcome.
Okay, let me come back to you. So I was going to ask you about what motivated you to say I want to be part of this brand, this fair.
So I know as a young business personnel, I need few platforms to actually show what I offer to my client bases. So when I heard of the SME fair happening, I'm like, this is it. So, and it's Joy, Echo, and these are like high profile businesses or maybe media, but like it's just a go-to for me to get that visibility and also to network with people. And yeah, I mean, I do fairs like few times, and a few weeks ago I was on a fair at I was at a fair and it was massive. Okay. So I know this one is going to actually put me out there. So okay. Yeah.
All right. But you do a lot of things. At this fair, what should we look out for from your brand?
So it's basically to network and also come have a community or still networking just to meet like him, her, and other few people on the.
Well, you took me out. Why?
No, yeah, I'm just right now. I mean, you are the yes. Yeah. So that they get to know the vision that is not really about the business. Like, I mean, we can't build and want to be successful all by ourselves. I mean, let's go back and the little way that we can help the people or where we are coming from.
So what products will
so
we
this
see
is steam textiles, and so you see steam textile clothing for both men and women, and just like what I'm wearing, it actually bring like that. It gives you that unique. I mean, this is Afrocentric. This is African. It portrays the culture. I mean, you see people wearing. I like what you're wearing actually, because it's a Wednesday, but here you are representing, I mean, where you're coming from. So that's just what we are bringing on board to make sure that every day you go into work, you have something that can actually take you formal to work and also weekend as well. So
would there be discount?
Yeah, we're giving a 25% discount. And I mean, our textiles are actually the best in the markets right now.
You have some here?
Yeah, I have some that you can feel actually, even what I'm wearing.
So that
and yeah, so you can just feel this. I mean, you are more of an African, so you just have a look at what we have.
So it means if you come to this fair, you get something like this. Oh, this is beautiful. This has been done already, huh?
Yeah, it's already made. It's a kimono. So
nice. Kimono?
Yeah. Kimono. Yeah. I mean, she can just put it on for people to see.
Okay. She can put it on?
She can try it on and then...
this is okay. So we're doing...
It's rather unfortunate they didn't bring one for the men.
Yeah. I was actually told it was going to be a fee.
Anyway, that is fine.
Yeah,
okay.
That's fine.
So when you come, you see a lot of this on display.
Yes.
I thought she was going to wear it.
Yeah, so I'll just put it on quickly for people to actually see how it looks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I take this back a bit?
It's fine. You can come this way.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. It's live television, so sometimes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh. And then you...
Yeah, it has a pocket. You can rock it anyhow you want to rock it. And this just gives you that transformation look. Already, I'm even wearing an African print, but this already gives you...
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to be at the EcoBank Joy Business SME Fair to see some of these things, and this product will be on display there. She says she's offering 25% discount on all of them.
You only get that at the fair though. After the fair, we are back to our normal prices.
Where are you located anyway?
I'm at Kwabinya.
Okay.
Yeah, off the Kwabinya Road. Yes. So you can just contact us on our social media at Steam Textiles. Get our contacts. I can also give out my contacts to people who...
So when you go onto social media, all the platforms, Steam Textiles?
Steam Textiles,
okay.
Yes.
And your contact is?
It's 059-501-45.
You have to take your time. Someone might be right.
So it's 059-501-4523.
Okay.
Yes.
All right then.
Thank
and they will
you.
get to you, yeah?
Yes.
I hope you pick your course anyway.
I will.
Okay. MFA, yes. You've already mentioned where you're based.
Yes.
You're also giving us discount on the day, right?
Yes. We are actually giving 20% discount on all outfits.
Your product. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And you've already mentioned where you are in terms of how we can connect with you. Yeah.
Okay. You can connect with us on 0242 344 550. Okay. 0242 344 550. And on Instagram is Iblis_boutique. On Facebook, Iblis_boutique. And on TikTok, yes. Okay. So on all social media platforms.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
But you forgot something. You wanted to say something?
No, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yes. So M-Tickets Ghana, we have a website that we actually want to not substitute the normal phone call thing where you have to go through that with our website and our social media handles. So we have a website, www.mticketgh.com. You can go on, you can book the tickets also from there. Our social media handles, mticketgh, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Okay.
We are on there. So you can check us out. If you need anything, our people are on hand to just reply any of your messages and everything. So just, our office is also located at the City Galleria Mall, so you can pass by as well.
Galleria Mall.
Yes.
I'm in my good mood today, so I'll give you last words to share with our viewers, else I would have closed. I'll give you last words.
So last words, yes. So this is M-Ticket, and we are giving you a hassle-free experience with your busing systems in Ghana. Very soon, we are tapping into the 24-hour economy. That's what we'll say. And we are working 24/7. So all you need to do is just dial *265#, follow the prompts, book your ticket, enter the bus station, sit in your bus. You will come and thank me later. M-Ticket for you.
You've taken advantage, proper. Yes. Eugenia.
Yes. At Iblis Boutique, we provide wide range of corporate, casual, and luxury outfits. You can visit our shop or visit our website or Instagram or visit us at all social media pages, and place your order. We encourage you to be at the SME Fair this weekend. Yes, and all you need will be supplied. We are offering great discounts, so you can't miss it.
Okay.
You should be there.
All right. Blessing.
Thank you. So I'll just say you should take advantage of me being a skincare therapist and getting to research the best textile that you need to put on your skin, because, I mean, people get to wear clothes that itches. People have allergies, but they don't know where it's coming from. Treating people for skincare and other stuff, I had to just point out, like, what you wear is actually too harsh for the weather. So just take the advantage and get to know Steam Textiles, and then I'm sure you are done for Afrocentric brand. And yeah, and supporting the brands, actually not supporting me having money or me become successful, but you're actually supporting a talent in the rural communities to actually do what we do, because you know the Bible says that I'll bless the works of your hands. Exactly. So yeah, so if you encourage me, you're encouraging other people that works with their hand. Yeah.
You know what? I have to take you to. Can I take you to my hometown for you to?
Definitely. So we are actually doing communities to community. So we are not just situated in just one community. So the dream and the vision is actually to go beyond Yeah, my community.
I'll take you to Hunter West.
Yes, please.
Yeah. You know Hunter West?
No, but
I'll take you there.
yes, please. That's
You
fine.
get to
Yes.
It's close to Tapade. At least
All right. Yes, I know Tapade.
So I'll take you to Hunter West.
Yeah, and when you want to travel.
The EcoBank Joy Business SME Fair. It's coming up on Friday, 31st of October to 2nd November, Sunday at Good Park. Good Park is just opposite the mall. It's actually within the premises of the mall, but when you face the mall like this, is on your left-hand side. So come there this Friday to Sunday and let's really have access to a lot of products and services on display. We'll take a break. We'll be back here on the AM show. Please do stay.
Yes, Our Lady of Grace.
7,227.
Correct.
Congratulations to Aminiampon Senior High School qualifying for the quarter-final stage.
They came from two very different parts. One, a school barely 2 years into the National Science and Maths quiz journey. The other, a veteran team that's tried and failed for years. But this time, both Our Lady of Grace Senior High School and Aminiampon Senior High School are making history, qualifying for the quarterfinals for the very first time. For Our Lady of Grace Senior High School, known simply as OLAG, this is nothing short of extraordinary. They only joined the NSMQ last year, and within a year, they've broken into the quarterfinals.
It means a lot to me because we've put in a lot of effort to getting this far. So it means a lot to training us in terms of to get and go for other trial activities to know where we are falling short to correct our mistakes and other stuff. And we also pray asking God to help us as we get this far.
It's teamwork. And then you get to know whatever you need. You know, people have been in the game for long. So you consult them what they did to get to where they are. You get their idea and then you also build on it. We're second in the regional Ashanti Championship. This year we want to get to the final and then lift the trophy.
At Aminiampon Senior High School, the mood is just as electric, but the story behind their success is rooted in years of near misses and heartbreak. They've been in the contest for 9 years, but always fell short of the quarterfinals until now.
And when I was coming to school, I knew that this school was not famous in NSMQ, but I knew I would try my best when I get into the team. To God be the glory. I think all things work out and we're able to be succeeded.
Those who are behind us, that's the Form 2s who will take after us next year. They will work harder because it will be very shameful for them to lose their seat next year.
The motivation comes from firstly my parents and after all my teachers that I came and met in the school. You don't have to be in the big schools in order to make it in life or in order to be a great NSMQ contestant.
For their coordinators, this is more than a victory, it's validation.
We are not being complacent. We are preparing very, very seriously for the quarterfinal because we know that the schools we are meeting, they are all schools that have gotten to semi-finals before. So we have been knocking at the door. Hopefully this year things change. Getting other colleagues coming together, that's the secret behind what we have achieved now.
Whether it's the new kid on the block or the seasoned fighter finally breaking through, both schools are proof that with focus and faith, no dream is too far. Together, Aminiampon Senior High School and Our Lady of Grace remind us that success has many journeys, but the joy of getting there feels the same. Adobe Asare, Joy News, Cape Coast.
Welcome back to the show. I've been joined in the studio by Irene Renee Boache-Dankwa. She is Corporate Affairs Officer with Goal PLC. Renee, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Goel has been on this for quite some time, yeah?
Yes.
What makes the company continuously say we're going to stick with NSMQ?
Okay, thank you. So let me start by letting our
viewers know who Goil is. So Goil PLC is Ghana's leading indigenous oil and gas marketing company. No doubt about that.
It is Ghana's company?
Ghana's company, leading. We've been in the industry for over 60 years. Yes. And we've done this consistently, 7 Ghanaians with quality products, quality fuels, quality lubricants, quality, basically 7 Ghanaians, the best they can expect from the industry. Yeah. And so supporting the NSMQ is to fulfill our part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is to support quality education, quality equitable education for all. And we take this opportunity using the NSMQ platform to execute this agenda. Yes.
How does this reflect your commitment? We know that we've all been talking about STEM. How does it reflect girls' commitment towards deepening the training of STEM?
Okay, so you know, the future of our country is in the hands of our youths. And the earlier we train them to take up the challenges, the better. Which is why we are committed to supporting their education, especially in the area of STEM, yes, and innovation. So it is based on the future of our youth, which is inspiring us to support this great cause of, you know, taking them through the early stages, supporting their education to meet up the challenges of the world and then the challenges of the industry. Yes.
You've been there for quite a long time.
Over 60 years.
So
it's a lot of years.
In terms of sponsoring NSMQ, what's the plan for the future like?
Okay, so there's no end to education. So the plan is simple. We shall continue to support the Ghanaian youth with their study of science, mathematics, engineering, and anything connected to STEM and innovation. So it's a continuous commitment. Yes, that's what I can say. It's a continuous commitment. Yeah.
Now, I mean, you know, in terms of the sponsorship, I'm sure every company that goes to sponsor an event has an objective for it. What is that objective or the goal of Goil sponsoring this NSMQ?
Okay. Well, our goal is simple. Ghanaians have patronized a good product from Goil. So we say that Goil dia. So the fact that Ghanaians have done this, we are giving back to them. Giving back to Ghanaians what they've put into the company. So it's giving back to Ghanaians by investing in the education of our youth. Yes. And you know, the competition is getting keener and keener.
Yeah.
Tomorrow starts with the quarterfinals, and it's no joke. So it's you know, it starts getting heated up from the 1/8 stage, which is I think almost ending, and we're continuing tomorrow with the quarterfinals. It's no joke, and we have this special stages where we have the Goil Riddle Bonanza.
I was going to ask you about that.
All right. So the Goil Riddle Bonanza goes, I mean, there's 800 Ghana cedis for each school that gets the riddles, all riddles correct. Yes. So every day, a school that gets all the riddles correct gets to win 800 Ghana cedis. Yes, throughout the competition, if you do the maths, it's a lot. There's a lot. Yeah. And we also have the Goil Double Championship, which goes like this. So every school or any school that was able to go through the zonal championships, that won the zonal championships, that wins the grand finale, gets a huge surprise. Yeah. So for the Goil Double Championship, it's also a big deal on the NSMQ. The students always look out for that. Yeah.
Is your school in there?
My school is in there.
Which school is that?
Head of all the hosts, Achimota.
Are you winning?
We must win. We won the zonal championship to Greater Accra. So yes, we are geared at winning. Yes.
What special message will you leave our viewers as we bounce off?
Yes, thank you. So to all Ghanaians, we appreciate your patronage of Goil products. Our products, Goil Super XP, Ron 95, and our lubricants on the market. You've brought us this far for over 60 years, and we promise to continue to empower our youth through their education, through the study of STEM. So thank you for getting on board with us, with the good energy we bring on board also. Thank you. Yes.
Goil is what? Ghana oil or good oil or what?
Goil. Good energy. That's what we stand for.
Okay.
Yes.
And in fact, you are trusted, Mom.
Thank
people
you.
buy Goil with that.
Thank you.
Assurance that everything is
yes, you just hit the nail on the head.
Okay. All right.
We do not compromise on quality.
Irene Renee Wachedankwa is
Yes,
Corporate
sir.
Affairs Officer with Goil PLC. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Brilliant day, yeah?
You too.
Right
Thank
then.
you.
And that's how we wrap it up here on the AM show. God willing, meet again tomorrow. Bye.